Villain. I really don't want to be a scumbag. Chapter 1 Traveling Through Time and Becoming the Unique Leader. Open black lens bracket. Brain storage. Close black lens bracket. No green, all beauties are collected. Some of the process of raising a daughter may make some parents dissatisfied, but there is a saying that goes, without going through the bitter cold, how can the plum blossom smell so fragrant? In the end, the result is happiness. Isn't it? Close black lens bracket. Sky continent. Subterranean space. King Zhou, 100 Swords Sect. Sect leader Qin Haitian leaned back in the armchair in his bedroom. Although several hours had passed, he had not yet recovered from his depressed mood. He was a young man in his 20s from Blue Star who had lost himself in the pursuit of life. In order to live a fulfilling life, he studied hundreds of arts, including playing various musical instruments, singing, playing chess, calligraphy and painting. He had dozens of certificates in life and was best at helping people solve their problems. However, he woke up and traveled to this world of immortal cultivation where demons were rampant. He became the unique leader of a sect, with 2 adopted sons and 2 female disciples. She could tolerate it because she was over 50 years old and had an adopted son. After all, she had looked in the mirror and confirmed through his eyes that he was a handsome, suave and charming middle-aged man, but you can't be a eunuch. It's true that the uncle can tolerate it, but the eunuch can't. That's right, his predecessor was a eunuch, and he took that step on his own initiative. At the age of 18, the predecessor obtained the heavenly level skill 100 Flowers Magic Art and the matching heavenly level martial arts 100 Flowers Sword Manual. It was fine for women to practice the 100 Flowers Magic Art and the 100 Flowers Sword Manual, but if a man wanted to practice them, he would need to castrate himself first. The predecessor, who was bent on immortality, gritted his teeth, stomped his feet, and raised the dragon-slaying sword to himself with tears. The sword came out like a dragon, blood splattered in the sky, and without the burden, his predecessor instantly felt relaxed, and then, he became invincible in the same level. The disadvantage was that he could no longer be interested in women. It is said that if there is no woman in your heart, you will naturally become a god when you draw your sword. But this was a tough time for Qin Tian, the time traveler. For him, this was a bolt from the blue, making his life worse than death. At this moment, a mechanical voice sounded, ding tilde 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 tilde, villain beauty system is activated. This is a system dedicated to making the host a villain. You can plunder the luck of the son of luck. You can bind a beauty with a favorability of 0 and a beauty of 90 or above. The practice of the bound beauty can be fed back according to the favorability. For example, if the favorability is 20, you can get 20% practice feedback. If you bind multiple beauties, you can stack the practice of each other and convert it into the host's practice experience. Note: in the later stage, when the mall is opened, you can consume the luck value to directly purchase the favorability reduction card or ignore the favorability and appearance to force the binding quota. Villain beauty system, interesting. Open the system panel for me. Qin Haitian suddenly sat up straight, his eyes sparkling. Wow. The next moment, a light curtain came into view. Open black lens bracket. Villain beauty system. Close black lens bracket. Host: Qin Haitian. Age: 56. Cultivation: Dantian is broken, and cultivation is lost. Number of beauties: 0. Luck value: 0. Kung Fu: none. Martial arts: none. Warehouse: newbie gift pack. Novice mission: bind your first lover. Reward: first level of Qi refining realm. Not bad, not bad. There's also a novice gift pack. Qin Haitian rubbed his hands and said excitedly, open it for me. As the novice gift pack was opened, Qin Haitian's eyes glowed green and his whole body trembled. Detector: it can detect the cultivation level, luck, and recent opportunities of the child of luck, and can detect the beauty and favorability of women, etc. Open black lens bracket. Healthy man pills: make you a real man again, and also repair your Dantian. Close black lens bracket. 3-star favorability card: you can force it on a person to increase their favorability by 30 points. 3 seconds of being a real man, a powerful force possesses you. Within 3 seconds, you will have a force far beyond your own. Note: can be used once. Qin Haitian's face was filled with joy. With a thought, a bottle of medicine appeared in his hand. It was the pill that restored his health as a man. He drank it in one gulp and immediately felt a huge change in his body. After a moment, Qin Tian lifted his robe and his laughter echoed in the hall. It felt good to be restored to a real man. Moreover, his Dantian was repaired. Although his cultivation was lost, he could recover it again, right? After all, He was a person with a system. Suddenly, a disciple ran into the hall in a panic. Master, master, this is bad. How can you be so flustered? What's wrong? Just talk properly. Qin Haitian frowned and said in a deep voice. Fortunately, he lifted his robe quickly, otherwise if his disciples saw it and spread it, how could he, the dignified sect leader, still have any dignity? He would definitely become a joke. According to the memories of my previous life, I know that this disciple is called Feng Yifeng, and he is an inner disciple. Master Headmaster, Junior Brother Qin and Junior Brother Yang had a fight with Junior Sister Lu on the martial arts arena, and Junior Brother Yang's cultivation was destroyed by accident. The doctor is treating Junior Brother Qin now, and Senior Brother Yang has been detained in the punishment hall. Feng Yifeng calmed himself and said with a panicked look on his face, how could he not panic? Although the sect leader had 2 sons, he doted on the younger son whom he kept by his side to teach. Now that the other son was crippled, how could he not be furious? Qin Haitian's mind suddenly showed a lot of information about this little adopted son. Qin Mofei was a playboy who was fond of beautiful women. It was said that he had unusual relationships with many female disciples of the sect. Recently, he has been pursuing Lu Ruoxian, who has just joined the sect for less than a year. Lu Ruoxian is one of the most beautiful female disciples among the tens of thousands of disciples in the Baijian sect. Lu Ruoxian is said to like Yang Shan, who is called Senior Brother Yang by this disciple. Qin Haitian's heart suddenly moved. The novice task was to bind the first beauty. After completing this task, he would be considered to have stepped onto the path of cultivation. So, Qin Haitian said coldly, go and bring Lu Ruoxian to me. Okay, I'll have the people from the punishment hall bring Senior Brother Yang over. Sect Master, are you talking about bringing Junior Sister Lu over? Feng Yifeng was halfway through his words when he realized that the person the sect master had mentioned was not right. He thought that the sect master was angry and mentioned the wrong person. Do you want me to explain it to you a second time? Qin Haitian snorted coldly, giving people a feeling of majesty without even getting angry. Yes, disciple understands. Feng Yifeng felt that the sect master's strength seemed to have become even stronger. He used to look unfathomable, but now, looking at him, it was just like looking at an ordinary person. This is the return to nature that can only be achieved after reaching a certain level of cultivation. After Feng Yifeng left, Qin Haitian let out a breath and slumped down in his chair. Damn it, it's so tiring to pretend to be a master without any cultivation. It would be better to quickly bind a few beauties and let them help me practice. Son, ha, Qin Haitian's face was full of sarcasm. Not to mention that he was just the adopted son of his previous life. Even if he was his biological son, he would not bother to care about his life or death. Well, it would be better if he died. Being a father is not a pleasant experience. Besides, he is a playboy's son, so I can't have him. I might lose my old bones someday. Sect, outside the criminal law hall. Many people were discussing it heatedly. Some wanted to know what punishment Yang Shan would receive, while others came to see the beautiful women. At this time, 2 extremely beautiful women were looking anxious. One of them had a slightly plump oval face, beautiful eyes with clear and bright pupils under her eyebrows, and black and shiny hair. Looking closely, it seemed as if she was wearing a skirt made of clouds and a shawl made of the bright moon. She is Lu Ruoxian, one of the 4 beauties of Baijian sect, and her appearance is like an immortal. The other woman had a pointed chin as white as jade, beautiful eyes as bright as stars under her eyebrows, and thick black hair. Upon closer inspection, it turned out that she was as beautiful as the willow in the flower. She was extremely beautiful. She was also one of the 4 beauties of the Baijian sect, and her name was Leng Qingshuang. Senior Sister Leng, Senior Brother Yang has been captured by the people from the punishment hall. What should we do? Lu Ruoxian said with panic and worry on her face. Junior Sister Lu, don't worry too much. After all, Senior Brother Yang is Master's last disciple. Master will definitely protect him. Although Leng Qingshuang was worried, her voice was very steady. Besides, Junior Brother Yang only accidentally disabled Qin Mofei. He didn't do it on purpose. Although he will be punished, I don't think the punishment will be too severe. But Qin Mofei is the head teacher's favorite son after all. Lu Ruoxian did not feel relieved at all because of Leng Qingshuang's words. Leng Qingshuang naturally knew this, but what could she do? At this moment, the disciple Feng Yifeng who delivered the message appeared in front of them. Junior Sister Lu, the sect master wants to see you. The headmaster wants to see me. Lu Ruoxian's face changed when she heard this. No, why did the headmaster want to see her? Could it be that the headmaster blamed her for the loss of her son's cultivation? Junior brother Feng, why does the master want to see junior sister Lu? Leng Qingshuang had obviously thought of this as well, and asked anxiously while looking at the disciple Feng Yifeng who was delivering the message. I don't know either. Feng Yifeng smiled bitterly and said, Junior sister Lu, hurry up, don't let the headmaster wait anxiously. Okay, I got it. Lu Ruoxian bit her lip and replied, I'll go with you right away. If the sect leader blames me, then I will take the punishment on behalf of senior brother Yang. Chapter 2. You don't want me to kill him, do you? On the way to the headmaster's residence with Lu Ruoxian, Feng Yifeng comforted her with admiration on his face. Junior sister Lu, don't worry too much. The headmaster will not punish you. After all, this is none of your business. After all, you are also a victim. Lu Ruoxian is a gorgeous woman with talent and beauty that is one in a million. At the age of 18, she has already reached the 10th level of chi refining. Her suitors can be described as numerous as a stream of fish swimming across the sea. Feng Yifeng is also a suitor of Lu Ruoxian, but he is almost 30 years old and has just succeeded in building his foundation. He is no match for Lu Ruoxian. Thank you, senior brother Feng, for your concern. Lu Ruoxian showed a forced smile on her face. Was she worried about herself? She was worried about senior brother Yang. After all, senior brother Yang accidentally destroyed Qin Mofei's cultivation. Could the headmaster let senior brother Yang go? Although the two said this, they were still moving at a fast speed. Soon, they had arrived outside the palace on the top of the mountain where the headmaster Qin Haitian lived. Master, junior sister Lu has been brought here. Feng Yifeng said respectfully to the palace. I made a mistake when I rushed in a panic just now. If I make the same mistake again, I will definitely be punished by the angry headmaster. You go down and let Lu Ruoxian come in by herself. Qin Haitian's intimidating voice came from the palace. Yes, Feng Yifeng replied respectfully, and then looked at Lu Ruoxian. Junior sister, I'll be waiting for you at the foot of the mountain. Thank you for your kindness, brother Feng, but it's not necessary. Lu Ruoxian shook her head and walked towards the palace. She looked calm, but her heart was full of anxiety and uneasiness. As Lu Ruoxian entered the palace, there was a rumbling sound, the formation started to work, and the palace door closed. After entering the palace, Lu Ruoxian saw Qin Haitian sitting on the armchair. Since entering the Baijian sect, she had seen Qin Haitian only a few times, and every time she saw him, she dared not even breathe, because Qin Haitian is known as one of the top 10 Mesozoic masters in Qingzu's millions of miles of rivers and mountains. Although his cultivation is at the 9th level of the Star Sea realm, his combat power is comparable to that of a top 10th level Star Sea realm master. With his 100 flowers sword technique, he is invincible at the same level. The realm of cultivation, the realm of refining qi, the realm of building foundation, the realm of Tongshuan, the realm of Xinghai, the realm of Daotai, the realm of Sixiong. Each realm is divided into 10 levels. The moment he saw Lu Ruoxian, Qin Haitian was almost suffocated. He was known as a friend of women, so his external conditions were naturally excellent. He had communicated with countless so-called beauties. Not to mention those with whom he had in-depth communication, even the women he had seen with his own eyes could not be compared with him. At the same time, the detector that had just been bound started up on its own. Name: Lu Ruoxian. Cultivation: Qi Refining Realm 10th Level. Minor Success. Open black lens bracket. Appearance: 93. Close black lens bracket. Talent Index: 5,630 points. According to the judging standards of this world, this is a 5.5 star talent. Favorability: 17. I am in awe of you. Qin Haitian blinked his eyes. That wouldn't work. The favorability was too high, so they couldn't be bound. Do you know you are wrong? Qin Haitian shouted in a deep voice. Lu Ruoxian was originally very nervous, and suddenly heard Qin Haitian's shout. She was shocked and panicked. She knelt on the ground and said, Master, I know I was wrong. In fact, she herself didn't know what she had done wrong. She was both scared and felt wronged. Looking at the pitiful Lu Ruoxian with tears in her eyes, Qin Haitian also felt distressed. This system is ridiculous. The highest favorability level must be 0 points for binding. What else can he do? However, seeing that Lu Ruoxian still had 15 points of favorability even though her favorability had dropped a little, she felt a little distressed, but she could only bear it and tried every means to continue to lower the other party's favorability. So she said coldly with a blank expression. You said you knew you were wrong, but do you know where you were wrong? Lu Ruoxian's expression froze, because she thought for a long time, but couldn't figure out where she was wrong. After a long while, she found a reason that was not a reason, and said pitifully, maybe it's because the disciple is too beautiful. When Qin Haitian heard the excuse Lu Ruoxian gave, he almost couldn't hold it in. This little girl is really narcissistic. Oh no, it should be said that she is confident. However, what she said is really not wrong. Beauty is a disaster. I think this is the best way to describe her. Looking at Lu Ruoxian, whose favorability remained at 15 points, Qin Haitian felt that if he didn't use strong medicine, the favorability would not be able to drop. He thought about it and an idea came to his mind, so he said coldly, my useless son has become a useless person. Although you are responsible for it, the culprit is Yang Shan, so I will not punish you. Hearing Qin Haitian's words, Lu Ruoxian's heart tightened immediately, and she asked anxiously, Master, I wonder how you are going to punish senior brother Yang. Senior brother Yang just made a mistake, it was not intentional. He is so cruel to his fellow disciples. Keeping such a person around will only bring disaster. I plan to have the punishment hall behead him in public. Qin Haitian said coldly. Hearing this, Lu Ruoxian turned pale with fear and almost fainted. She knelt on the ground with tears in her eyes and begged, Wu, no. Master, please spare senior brother Yang's life. Although senior brother Yang made a mistake, his crime does not deserve death. Looking at Lu Ruoxian, whose favorability was still 7 points, Qin Haitian said coldly, I have made up my mind. Go down, you look pitiful, so I will give you a chance to see Yang Shan for the last time. These words were like a heavy hammer hitting Lu Ruoxian's heart. The little goodwill that Lu Ruoxian had left for Qin Haitian disappeared instantly. Instead, she was full of resentment towards Qin Haitian. However, she did not show it. She had already made up her mind that as long as the leader killed Yang Shan, she would definitely take revenge on Qin Haitian in the future, even if it meant sacrificing her own life. Yang Shan is not only her childhood sweetheart, but also has helped her many times. She has long been deeply in love with Yang Shan, but she is reserved and Yang Shan has not confessed his feelings yet, so the relationship between them is still innocent. However, she has long made up her mind that if she finds someone to be a Taoist partner in the future, that person can only be Yang Shan. Seeing that Lu Ruoxian's favorability suddenly turned into -100, Qin Haitian couldn't help but twitch his mouth. Damn, it was 5 points of favorability just now, and now it has become a matter of life and death. Obviously, Lu Ruoxian thought she was going to kill Yang Shan. -100 points, this is the level of hatred for having one's wife stolen from one's wife and revenge for having one's father killed. I have found a target that is suitable for binding. Goddess Lu Ruoxian, do you want to bind? Bind. Qin Haitian thought in his heart. Bite. Binding successful. On the system panel, the number of beauties changed from 0 to 1. Naturally, the cultivation reward was obtained, but now was not the time to claim it. Master, I am leaving now. Lu Ruoxian said this expressionlessly and turned to leave. At this moment, all the tears on her face had disappeared. Wait a minute, Qin Haitian suddenly spoke. Lu Ruoxian trembled when she heard that. Could it be that the hatred in her heart was discovered by the sect leader? If you want me to let Yang Shan go, it's not impossible. Qin Haitian said lightly, with a playful smile on his face. As soon as these words came out, Lu Ruoxian's empty eyes suddenly came alive, and she said in a hurry, Master, as long as you can let senior brother Yang go, I will even take my life. Her favorability suddenly soared a lot, from -100 to -30 points. Seeing the favorability level changing like a rocket, Qin Haitian felt a little jealous of Yang Shan, whom he had never met. What virtue did he have to deserve such a beautiful woman to treat him like this? Want your life? How could that be? I just want you. Qin Haitian looked at Lu Ruoxian with a smile and said with a slight smile on his lips. You want me to be your apprentice? Lu Ruoxian was stunned when she heard that and said, she is now an outer disciple and has not yet become a disciple. In the 100 Swords sect, only inner disciples can truly become disciples. However, the headmaster wants her to be a disciple, and she has no objection, nor does she dare to have any objection. As long as the headmaster can spare senior brother Yang's life, it will be fine. No, I just want you to be my woman. Qin Haitian smiled evilly. While speaking, he had already come to Lu Ruoxian's side. His fingers gently hooked Lu Ruoxian's chin that was as white as jade. Originally, he wanted to imitate the so-called crooked-mouthed dragon king and smile with a crooked mouth, but for some reason, it felt very unnatural, so he gave up. Having her chin lifted, Lu Ruoxian felt ashamed and said in panic, "No, you can't. Didn't you just say that you would sacrifice your life for Brother Yong?" Qin Haitian said sarcastically, "Could it be that you were all lying? In fact, you don't care about Yang Shan's life or death at all." "No, I. Lu Ruoxian shook her head repeatedly. At this moment, she was confused. Looking at that tempting cherry mouth, Qin Haitian couldn't help but hug Lu Ruoxian's neck and kiss her. It's not his fault that he is weak-willed, it's just that Lu Ruoxian's little mouth is too tempting. Boom tilde 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 tilde. Lu Ruoxian felt as if a thunder had exploded in her mind. At this moment, she was completely stunned. There was only one thought left in her mind. She was not clean anymore. Soon, Lu Ruoxian reacted, with endless hatred in her eyes, and was about to break free from Qin Haitian's arms. At this moment, Qin Haitian's voice rang out, "If you obey me, I will spare Yang Shan, otherwise, I will kill him." "Do you want to watch Yang Shan die?" Lu Ruoxian's struggle suddenly became powerless. "Cooperate with me. Think about it, Yang Shan's life is in your hands. You don't want me to kill him, right?" Qin Haitian said in a persuasive manner, and then took the opportunity to pry open Lu Ruoxian's little mouth, who was resisting very softly. Chapter 3 Activate the System Prize Pool. The main palace of the Baijian sect where the leader lives and practices. It's not that Lu Ruoxian didn't think about resisting, but she was already afraid of the head sect leader Qin Haitian, and was also afraid that Qin Haitian would really kill Yang Shan, so she could only retreat step by step, from the main hall to the bedroom of the palace, until she had nowhere to retreat, and looked at Qin Haitian pitifully. "Don't be afraid, I'm just teaching you how to recite poems and compose couplets. I'm actually a good person." Qin Haitian showed a smile that he thought was kind. Lu Ruoxian did not feel kindness, but only fear. "Can you please let me go? Don't you want to save Yang Shan? Are you going to watch him die and do nothing?" Qin Haitian tempted. Lu Ruoxian shed tears of reluctance. "You bastard." After that, Lu Ruoxian's favorability level was fixed at 21 points. Qin Haitian also secretly breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that his efforts were not in vain. How to say it? There is a saying that goes, "A husband and wife for a day are bound by 100 days of love, and 100 days of marriage are as deep as the sea." Looking at Lu Ruoxian's rosy cheeks, Qin Haitian smiled and said, "Shaner baby, you are so nice." "Don't call me that." Lu Ruoxian felt extremely embarrassed and angry when she heard Qin Haitian's disgusting name and praise. "Then Shaner, what do you want me to call you?" Qin Haitian said with a playful smile. "Anyway, you are not allowed." Although she said so, Lu Ruoxian did not seem to have any aversion to it. Looking at Lu Ruoxian's eyes, Qin Haitian smiled and said, "Do you want to hear why I treat you like this?" "HMPH, I don't want to." Lu Ruoxian said arrogantly. Although she said so, her ears were perked up, and it was obvious that she was not saying what she meant. She was not stupid and she did not realize it before. Now, she felt that even if she had rejected Qin Haitian at the beginning, perhaps Qin Haitian would not have killed senior brother Yang. But the mistake had been made and it was too late to regret it. Thinking of this, she felt a little sad. The clouds look like clothes and the flowers look like beauty, the spring breeze blows on the threshold and the dew on the flowers is gorgeous. If we hadn't met on the top of the Jade Mountain, we would have met under the moon on the Jade Terrace. Qin Haitian's warm and magnetic voice sounded. Lu Ruoxian was stunned. She loved poetry and songs. When she heard Qin Haitian's poem, her heart trembled. She stared at Qin Haitian in a daze. Because you are the fairy in my mind, I am willing to fall into the 18 levels of hell for you. So do you understand why I treat you like this?" Qin Haitian looked at Lu Ruoxian affectionately and spoke slowly. Although Qin Haitian is over 50 years old, he has castrated himself and his cultivation has reached the Star Sea realm. The higher the cultivation, the slower he ages, and he may even be able to regain youth. So he does not look old. On the contrary, he is at the most attractive time for a man. Now that he has obtained Lu Ruoxian's body, he speaks gentle and corny words and recites poems. Lu Ruoxian is only 18 years old. How can she withstand such a scene? Her gaze as she looked at Qin Haitian gradually softened, and her favorability towards him also increased rapidly. Qin Haitian's eyes were still affectionate, but he was extremely happy in his heart. Sure enough, This trick was very effective. The other party's favorability level soared to more than 40. Sure enough, women all like to hear sweet words. Ding tilde tilde tilde. At this moment, the system's belated voice sounded. The host successfully changed Lu Ruoxian's fate to become Yongshan's lover, and took away 10,000 points of Yongshan's luck. Yongshan's remaining luck is 90,000 points. Congratulations to the host for successfully activating the system prize pool. Primary prize pool. Note: a single draw consumes 100 points of luck, and a 3-star treasure will be obtained after 10 consecutive draws. Intermediate prize pool. Note: a single draw consumes 1,000 points of luck, and a 10-draw streak will get you a 5-star treasure. Advanced prize pool. Note: a single draw consumes 10,000 points of luck, and a 7-star treasure will be obtained after 10 consecutive draws. Top prize pool. Note: a single draw consumes 100,000 points of luck, and a 9-star treasure will be obtained after 10 consecutive draws. After raising Lu Ruoxian's favorability to 50 points, Qin Tian stopped bothering Lu Ruoxian, because he knew what was the real thing. The bound beauty needed to practice well to play the greatest role for him. "Shaner, I'll give you something later," Qin Haitian said with a smile, while looking at Lu Ruoxian. "What is it?" Lu Ruoxian pursed her lips and looked at Qin Haitian. She now had complicated feelings towards Qin Haitian. For some reason, she felt that she could no longer live without Qin Haitian. "You'll know soon," Qin Haitian said with a smile, then he entered a secret room. When he came out, there was a ring in his hand. "Here, take it." Qin Haitian handed the storage ring to Lu Ruoxian and said with a smile. "Storage ring?" Lu Ruoxian looked at Qin Haitian in surprise. Each storage ring is very valuable. She also wants to get one, but she can't afford it because even the most ordinary storage ring requires at least tens of thousands of low-grade spirit stones. All her spirit stones are used for cultivation. How can she have the money to buy such a thing? But she remembered that Yongshan had one. "Look inside the ring." Qin Haitian shrugged and smiled. Lu Ruoxian took a quick look and couldn't help but gasp. She looked at Qin Haitian with a complicated expression. Why did you give me so many treasures? I saw that there were a huge amount of cultivation resources in the storage ring. There were tens of thousands of low-grade spirit stones and some medium-grade spirit stones. In addition to the spirit stones, there were also some elixirs used for cultivation, and the most important foundation building pills. There were as many as 10 of them. You know, each foundation building pill is worth 10,000 low-grade spirit stones. 10 pills are equivalent to 100,000 low-grade spirit stones. You are my woman, but your cultivation is too weak. I naturally hope that you can improve your cultivation as soon as possible. Qin Haitian pinched Lu Ruoxian's pointed white chin and said gently. Lu Ruoxian bit her lips lightly, not knowing what to say. Chapter 4, Shui Hongluan, Master of Hongluan Peak. By the way, the level of the skills you practiced before was average. You can practice the 100 Flowers divine art that I gave you in the ring. In this way, you can become a top-level cultivator in the Foundation Establishment realm in the future. The other book is a matching sword technique, called 100 Flowers Sword Manual. Qin Haitian looked at Lu Ruoxian's little eyes, which were full of tenderness. If he hadn't been full, he really wanted to communicate with her again. Lu Ruoxian's mind moved, and the next moment, 2 secret books appeared in her hands. One was a cultivation method, and the other was a swordsmanship secret book. Heavenly level skills and martial arts. Lu Ruoxian was dumbfounded and looked at Qin Haitian in disbelief. Qin Haitian instructed, "Yes. So you have to keep it a secret, otherwise if it gets out, it will bring disaster upon yourself. After all, I can't always be by your side to protect you." No matter whether it is Lu Ruoxian or other disciples, who doesn't want to obtain the heavenly level secret book? The secrets are ranked from low to high: human level, yellow level, mysterious level, earth level, heaven level. Most of the elders and even the supreme elders of the Baijian sect practiced techniques of the earth level. Only the sect master practiced the heaven level, which was said to be acquired by chance. Lu Ruoxian had not expected that Qin Haitian would be so good to her and that he would give her his most valuable treasure at the first try. Her favorability towards Qin Haitian soared again, reaching 68 points at once, and was still rising. She felt that Qin Haitian valued her. He must really like her, otherwise, how could he be so good to her? You know, even father and son may become enemies because of the treasure. Although he is a little older than her, in the world of cultivation, age cannot be an obstacle to forming a Taoist couple. Therefore, Lu Ruoxian's eyes softened when she looked at Qin Haitian at this time, and she liked him more and more. Hey, why are the first pages missing in both of these secret books? After Lu Ruoxian opened them, she found that the first page had been torn off, and was immediately surprised. Qin Tian's expression was slightly stiff, a little too natural. Ahem, the first page is always blank, I just tore it up when I didn't like it. The main thing is that the first one says that if a man wants to practice this skill, he must first castrate himself. How embarrassing it would be if Lu Ruoxian saw this. So that's how it is. Lu Ruoxian suddenly realized, although she thought that even if it was a blank page, she didn't need to tear it up, but since it had been torn off, she didn't think much about it. By the way, you should practice in seclusion in my palace for the next few days. First, I have more rooms for practice, and second, the spiritual energy here is richer. Looking at Lu Ruoxian, Qin Haitian changed the subject and said with a doting smile on his face, this way, it will be safer for you to break through to the foundation establishment stage. If this gets out, will there be rumors? Lu Ruoxian said with a worried look on her face. I'll spread the word that I'm observing you and am planning to take you in as my apprentice. That way, the rumors will naturally disappear. Qin Haitian smiled. Oh, Lu Ruoxian nodded, paused, and asked tentatively, how else will you punish senior brother Yong? Although he crippled my son, since you begged for mercy, I will forgive him this time. However, I can't not punish him at all. I will detain him in the punishment hall for a while as a punishment. Qin Haitian pinched Lu Ruoxian's cheek and said, in the future, you should keep your distance from Yongshan. After all, you are my woman now. If you are too close, I will be jealous. Do you understand? I know. Lu Ruoxian blushed and said angrily, bad guy. Listening to Lu Ruoxian's coquettish words, Qin Haitian felt furious, because this girl didn't know how attractive he was at the moment. But thinking that he had already tormented Lu Ruoxian 7 or 8 times, he decided to slow down a bit. Lu Ruoxian would practice in her own palace next, and there would be plenty of opportunities for him to be shameless with her. Punishment Hall, secret room. Yongshan was imprisoned here. In the previous incident, he did not kill Qin Mofei accidentally, but did it intentionally. His realm was the 5th level of the Foundation Establishment realm, seemingly one level lower than Qin Mofei's 6th level of the Foundation Establishment realm, but in fact, he was practicing Earth-level swordsmanship, and he had cultivated it to perfection. It was no problem for him to defeat Qin Mofei by leaps and bounds, because the other party was only practicing profound-level swordsmanship, which was not as high as his level. The reason why he eliminated Qin Mofei was naturally because he didn't want Qin Mofei to entangle with Lu Ruoxian. Although he did not confess his feelings, he had always liked Lu Ruoxian. He believed that Lu Ruoxian also liked him, but they were both only 18 years old and were not in a hurry to get involved. But for some reason, at this moment, he suddenly felt as if someone had dug a piece of his heart out, which made him feel extremely uncomfortable. Did something happen outside? Yongshan frowned. I just accidentally crippled Qin Mofei. Many people saw it with their own eyes. Although the headmaster will be angry, as long as master helps me deal with it, I should be able to be safe. Yongshan suppressed the palpitations in his heart and muttered to himself, but if I stay in the sect, I wonder if the headmaster will make things difficult for me. If so, is there any need for me to stay in Baijian sect? But if I leave Baijian sect, master. In fact, I feel a little regretful in my heart. I was really too carried away before. Qin Mofei is several years older than himself, and has lived in the 100 Swords sect since he was a child. The resources he has used for cultivation are infinitely more than himself, and his cultivation is only one level higher than himself. Even if he is not a waste, he is not much better than a waste. It is indeed inappropriate for me to destroy him in front of so many people. The master of Hongluan Peak is named Shui Hongluan. She is also a genius who has become famous at a young age. Now she is 45 or 46 years old, and her cultivation has reached the peak of the 6th level of the Star Sea realm. This time of seclusion is to strive for the perfection of the 7th level of the Star Sea realm. It must be said that her previous travels did have certain results. This time of seclusion is only for more than 2 months, and she has successfully reached the perfection of the 6th level of the Star Sea realm. She came out of seclusion for a while, preparing to take a short rest before making another attempt to reach the 7th level of the Star Sea realm. But at this moment, she saw her eldest disciple Leng Qingshuang, who looked anxious. Lang Qingshuang, only 23 years old, has already reached the first level of Tongshuan realm. Before she turns 30, she has hope of reaching Xinghai realm. Her talent is similar to his. Master, something bad has happened. Lang Qingshuang said in panic when she saw Shui Hongluan. What happened? Seeing the usually calm Lang Qingshuang's pale face, Shui Hongluan's heart sank and a cold voice rang out. Junior brother Yang was competing with junior brother Qin in the arena, and he accidentally disabled junior brother Qin. Lang Qingshuang said with a worried look on his face. Which junior brother Qin? Shui Hongluan's heart suddenly skipped a beat. Junior brother Qin Mofei. This. Shui Hongluan's face suddenly became as gloomy as water. She knew how much the headmaster doted on Qin Mofei. If Yangshan destroyed Qin Mofei's cultivation, would the headmaster let Yangshan go? No, it was impossible. When did this happen? Shui Hongluan asked nervously. How is your junior brother Yang doing? This happened yesterday, but the headmaster has not yet issued an order to punish junior brother Yang. That's good. Shui Hongluan breathed a sigh of relief. She was afraid that the incident had happened a long time ago and the order from the head brother had already been issued, which would be difficult to change. Now, there is still room for change. Thinking of this, Shui Hongluan comforted Lang Qingshuang. Don't worry, I will go to see the head brother right away. No matter what, I will do my best to save your little brother's life. After saying this, without waiting for Lang Qingshuang to reply, the graceful figure instantly disappeared from the spot. By the way, Master, junior sister Lu. Lang Qingshuang wanted to tell Master about Lu Ruoxian after Shui Hongluan left. That is, Lu Ruoxian entered the main peak yesterday and did not come down. She was a little worried. Chapter 5 Confession to Shui Hongluan Baijian Sect, Main Peak. In the main hall, Qin Tian was eating breakfast leisurely while looking at the system panel. He was in a good mood. After claiming the reward for binding a beauty yesterday, he became a cultivator in the qi refining realm and his experience points increased by 30 points. This was naturally the credit of his first Taoist partner Lu Ruoxian, and the feedback she brought to him through her practice, open black lens bracket. Villain Beauty System Close Black Lens Bracket Host, Qin Haitian Cultivation, Qi Refining Level 1. Experience 3100ths Beauty, 1 Luck Value, 10,000 points Kung Fu, 100 Flowers Magic Art Level 1 1 100th Joy Magic Art Level 1 8 100ths Martial Arts, None Warehouse, 3-star Favorability Card 1, 3-second True Man Pill 1 Click on the list of beauties, and the detailed information of the beauties is clearly displayed. Name, Lu Ruoxian Cultivation, Qi Refining Realm 10th Major Accomplishment Open Black Lens Bracket Appearance, 93 Close Black Lens Bracket Open Black Lens Bracket Talent Index, 5,638 points Close Black Lens Bracket Favorability, 77 I adore you. Qin Haitian still remembers that when they first met, Lu Ruoxian's qualification was 5,630 points, and now it has increased by 8 points. He thought about it and realized that he had practiced dual cultivation 8 times yesterday. Each time it improved a little, which may not seem like much, but as long as he works harder, there is hope that he will reach a 10-star qualification in the future. What Qin Haitian was most satisfied with was the other party's favorability, which was 77 points, and the cultivation feedback was 77%. As long as Hongyun works hard to cultivate, won't her own strength rise rapidly? This life of lying flat is wonderful just thinking about it, so Qin Haitian will not be stingy at all when it comes to good treasures. However, Lu Ruoxian's cultivation level is low, and the help her practice can bring to herself is relatively small. If she could bind herself to a few beauties with higher cultivation levels, wouldn't that be like a little sow taking a plane, so awesome? At this moment, a cold voice sounded outside the palace. Junior sister Shui Hongluan wants to see the head brother. Qin Haitian's heart trembled when he heard this cold and queenly tone, but he said calmly, Junior sister Hongluan, please come in. The next moment, a woman with extremely beautiful appearance came into view. She was wearing a deep sky blue gown embroidered with a pippa, and a deep peach red luminous printed 3-color lotus leaf skirt. She was draped with a blue shawl, and her hair was tied into a flying bun. Her delicate hair was adorned with gold hairpins with cloud and phoenix patterns, and she had white jade earrings on her ears. She had white jade rings on her slender hands, and a waist belt embroidered with gold floral patterns was tied around her slender waist, on which hung a buckled ruby embroidered sachet, and on her feet were 2-color hibiscus boots embroidered with lotus flowers and brocade with gold thread. Qin Haitian had only one feeling: amazing. Qin Haitian had never seen what Chang'e looked like, but he felt that the woman in front of him was no worse than Chang'e. The detector started automatically, and immediately the woman's relevant information came into view. Open black lens bracket. Name: Shui Hongluan. Close black lens bracket. Cultivation: 6th level of the Star Sea realm is perfect. Open black lens bracket. Appearance: 97. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Talent index: 5,856 points. Close black lens bracket. Likability rating: 56. System: please bind Shui Hongluan to me. Qin Haitian subconsciously gave the system an order. Because the binding object's favorability is too high, the binding fails. The system kindly reminds you that the highest value of favorability that can be bound is 0 points. Although the voice sounded cute, it made Qin Haitian quite depressed. As long as there was no grudge, his favorability would never be lower than 0. Even when they met for the first time, it might be greater than 0 because of his handsome looks. Qin Haitian sighed inwardly. It seems that he needs to do something fancy to lower his favorability. The system really makes things difficult for me, Fat Tiger. I don't want to be a bad guy, but it forces me to do this. Shui Hongluan looked at Qin Haitian with some curiosity. Before, the head brother's cultivation could only suppress one major realm, but now he has suppressed it to the chi refining realm. This breath-retaining technique is amazing, but now is not the time to ask that. Master brother. Shui Hongluan looked at Qin Haitian and said apologetically, I only found out about yesterday's incident when I came out of retreat today. My disciple made an unintentional mistake. I hope you can forgive him this time. I will go out and look for the natural treasures to restore my nephew Mo Fei's dantian. Do you think you can find it? Qin Haitian said lightly. As soon as these words were spoken, Shui Hongluan's breathing suddenly stagnated. It was naturally difficult to find the natural treasures to restore her dantian. Besides this, what else could she suggest? Thinking of this, she felt a little depressed. If he was just injured, the situation would be easy to deal with, but Qin Mofei's cultivation was destroyed because his dantian was destroyed, and he couldn't even rebuild it. This was different from Qin Haitian's situation. Qin Haitian died because of his serious injuries, and then his cultivation was dissipated, but his dantian was not damaged. Brother, even though my disciple Yang Shan accidentally caused my nephew's dantian to be destroyed, the thing has already happened and a slight punishment will be enough. I hope you can be more magnanimous and forgive my disciple. Shui Hongluan said with pleading tone. Qin Haitian was filled with jealousy towards Yang Shan, whom he had never met. This guy was really lucky. In front was Lu Ruoxian, and behind was Shui Hongluan. Each of them was extremely stunningly beautiful, and they were all willing to humble themselves and plead for him, which made him very angry. Is this the power of the luck value person? Of course, once the opponent's luck is completely deprived, he will be indistinguishable from the crowd, and at most slightly better than ordinary people. If you want me to forgive him, it's not impossible. Qin Haitian said lightly while looking at Shui Hongluan. Brother, please tell me. As long as I can do it, I will definitely do it. Shui Hongluan said excitedly when he heard it. Seeing Shui Hongluan's favorability rising rapidly, Qin Haitian was speechless. I want to bind myself to you. Why did you give me such a high favorability? Junior sister Hongluan, as long as you agree to be my Taoist partner, I will let your disciple go. Qin Haitian looked at Shui Hongluan and said with burning eyes. What? Shui Hongluan looked at Qin Haitian in disbelief when she heard that, as if she couldn't believe that it was Qin Haitian who said that just now. The head brother has not been interested in women in recent years, why does he suddenly want to become my Taoist partner? Master, senior brother, you are not joking, right? Shui Hongluan blushed and said shyly. Seeing that Shui Hongluan's favorability not only did not decrease but instead increased slightly, Qin Haitian had a strange thought in his mind. Shui Hongluan, you won't like me, right? Qin Haitian felt happy and depressed when he thought of this. I'm happy that I'm charming enough to attract an excellent woman like Shui Hongluan. But I'm depressed that my favorability towards her is increasing instead of decreasing. How can I bind her? Of course. Qin Haitian gritted his teeth and looked at Shui Hongluan seriously. If the other party agrees, then I will find a way to hurt Shui Hongluan once. If the other party disagrees, I will think of another bad idea. Master brother, your confession was too sudden. Could you give me some time to think about it? Shui Hongluan said shyly. Seeing that Shui Hongluan's favorability had soared to over 70, Qin Haitian was terrified. Damn, with such a high favorability, it would be too difficult to reduce it to 0 or even below. Chapter 6 Chin Haitian's amazing Operation Zhu Hongluan said she would think about it, which was obviously not a rejection, but rather a sign of reserve. With Chin Haitian's rich experience as a Poseidon, he believed that as long as he said a few more affectionate words, he would be able to win Shui Hongluan over. However, Chin Haitian decided not to do that. Shui Hongluan had a good impression of him, and once they really became Taoist companions, it would be extremely difficult to lower her favorability in the future. Even if it was lowered, the relationship would probably be broken by then. Therefore, Chin Haitian decided to take a risky move. The next moment, Chin Haitian looked at Shui Hongluan with anger and said, "Junior sister Hongluan, you didn't agree to me. Are you in love with your disciple named Yongshan?" Hearing Chin Haitian's words, Shui Hongluan widened her eyes, looked at Chin Haitian angrily, and said angrily, "Brother Chin, what nonsense are you talking about? Yongshan and I are just master and apprentice." Seeing that Shui Hongluan's favorability dropped by 20 or 30 points in an instant, Chin Haitian felt his heart bleeding. However, for the sake of future plans, Chin Haitian could only harden his heart and said coldly, "Didn't you just say that as long as I spare your apprentice once, you would be willing to do anything? Are you thinking that I will let your apprentice go, and then refuse me to be with him? You gave me hope, and then let me down. You are such a cruel woman." Shui Hongluan looked at Chin Haitian and smiled sadly, "Brother Chin, am I such a person in your mind?" The favorability dropped rapidly, but after it dropped to more than 30 points, it stopped dropping. This gave Chin Haitian a headache. Why did Shui Hongluan have such a strong affection for him? What he said was so heartless, but she still couldn't forget it. "You, isn't it?" Chin Haitian said cruelly. Shui Hongluan looked at Chin Haitian, biting her lips, tears in her eyes. She really didn't expect that Chin Haitian looked at her like this. That year, she was 16 and he was 26. The elegant man saved her and also entered her heart, which was just beginning to fall in love. She knew that he was a core disciple of Baijian sect, so she gave up the opportunity to enter other better sects and entered Baijian sect, and then grew up step by step. In order to narrow the gap with him, she kept working hard, and finally broke through to the Star Sea realm, became the master of one of the peaks of Baijian sect, and opened up Hongluan Peak. She always wanted to get close to him, but he was indifferent to her approach. She originally thought of living alone for the rest of her life, but due to her woman's modesty, she did not dare to take the initiative to confess her feelings for fear of being rejected. Because Chin Haitian rejected the pursuit of too many women, she suppressed her love for Chin Haitian deep in her heart. God knows how happy and delighted she was when she heard Chin Haitian confess his love to her just now. The reason why she did not agree immediately was just because she was reserved. As long as Chin Haitian was a little tougher or said a few more nice words, she would agree. She never thought that he would say such chilling words. It is said that a kind word warms you through 3 spring months, while an evil word hurts you through 3 winter months. I really misjudged you. Shui Hongluan looked at Chin Haitian and smiled sadly. Looking at Shui Hongluan's heartbroken eyes and crying tears, her favorability was still around 10 points. Chin Haitian really wanted to give up the binding this time. He wanted to hurt such a beautiful woman who was so affectionate to him. He was worse than a beast. But when Chin Haitian was about to soften his heart, he suddenly thought of a problem. Shui Hongluan actually liked her predecessor, not himself. Since it was her predecessor, then it was okay. After all, her predecessor was a eunuch and it was impossible for him to be with Shui Hongluan. Even if he hadn't traveled through time, Shui Hongluan might really be with her disciple Yongshan, the son of destiny. Having said that, as long as I am bound to Shui Hongluan, I will treat her well in the future and make up for the trauma she suffered today. And since it's already been hurt to this extent, there's no need to care about it anymore. Chin Haitian looked indifferent to Shui Hongluan. Not only that, but what he said next made Shui Hongluan disappointed and desperate. Since you don't want to be my Taoist partner, then let your eldest disciple Leng Qingshuang be my concubine. It is said that her talent and appearance are no worse than yours. What did you say? Shui Hongluan was so angry that she trembled all over and raised her hand to slap Chin Haitian in the face. But when she saw the sneer on Chin Haitian's lips, she put her hand down, and her good impression of Chin Haitian completely disappeared in her heart. Although she still remembered that she owed him and would repay him if she had the chance in the future, that was just her way of repaying a favor, and she no longer had any good impression of Chin Haitian at all. Of course, her favorability rating did not become negative, which was the only comforting thing, as it showed that she was still very principled and did not turn love into hate. Found the target character, Goddess Shui Hongluan, who is suitable for binding. Do you want to bind? Close black lens bracket, bind. Qin Haitian cursed the damn system in his heart. In order to be able to bind, he hurt a woman who loved him so much, and you are still asking me whether I want to bind. Do you deserve a beating? And when Qin Tian successfully bound Shui Hongluan still turned around and left the palace in a flash. Junior sister Hongluan, Qin Haitian was just about to win back Shui Hongluan's heart when Shui Hongluan's figure completely disappeared. Even if he wanted to catch up, he couldn't, because his current cultivation level was far inferior to Shui Hongluan's. Although Qin Haitian was a little depressed, he was not too frustrated. Recalling the memories of his previous life, he knew Shui Hongluan's general personality. As long as he prescribed the right medicine, he could win back Shui Hongluan's heart. There was a look of deep thought in his eyes. After an unknown amount of time had passed, a smile appeared on Qin Haitian's lips. He flipped his hand and took out a token. This is the order of the headmaster, a symbol of the headmaster's identity, and also a communication tool, but the communication distance is limited. Qin Haitian came from Blue Star, and was actually quite curious about the telephone in the world of immortal cultivation. There were some principles involved, but he didn't quite understand them. He just knew that it involved the laws of space, so he didn't delve into it and directly dialed Shui Hongluan's phone. Hongluan Peak. Seeing Master Shui Hongluan's extremely gloomy face after returning, Leng Qingshuang's heart skipped a beat. He knew from her expression that Shui Hongluan's trip was not going well. He originally wanted to tell Master that junior sister Lu had not come down since being called to the main peak by the headmaster, but it was obviously not appropriate to ask about this at this time. Master, isn't the sect leader willing to let junior brother Yang go? Leng Qingshuang pursed her lips and asked with anxiety on her face. Hearing Leng Qingshuang's words, Shui Hongluan's expression was slightly stunned. She was so angry after hearing Qin Haitian's words just now that she forgot what she was going to do. What should I do now? Should I just ignore my disciple Yang Shan's life or death because I'm angry? Shui Hongluan gritted her teeth, her face full of anger and rage. But at this moment, her communication order vibrated. When she found out that it was Qin Haitian who called, a trace of anger flashed across her face, but she still answered the call and said in a cold voice, I don't know what the head teacher wants to talk to me about. If it's nothing important, I'll go into seclusion again. You don't want your disciple anymore, right? In that case, I will order him to be killed. Qin Haitian's voice sounded indifferently. Hearing this, Shui Hongluan's breathing stagnated and an angry look appeared on her face, but she was really worried that Qin Haitian would order Yang Shan to be beheaded. I'll be there right away. Shui Hongluan took a deep breath to suppress her anger, and then directly interrupted the communication. Chapter 7, Phoenix Seeking Phoenix. After Shui Hongluan hung up the phone, she took a deep breath and suppressed her fluctuating thoughts. She looked at Leng Qingshuang and asked, by the way, what else did you want to say just now? Master, junior sister Lu went to the main peak yesterday and didn't come down. Leng Qingshuang's eyes dodged. It would be bad to see Master angry. She kept a calm expression and explained softly, I don't know what happened. Lu Ruoxian, Shui Hongluan's eyes flashed. Okay, I get it. As the master of a peak and a cultivator in the Star Sea realm, the minimum standard for her to accept disciples is to reach the Foundation Establishment realm. No matter whether it was Leng Qingshuang or Yang Shan, they were only accepted as her disciples after they broke through to the Foundation Establishment realm. However, Lu Ruoxian was about to break through to the Foundation Establishment stage, and she was ready to accept her as a disciple. Moreover, she also knew that Lu Ruoxian and Yang Shan had a very good relationship. They were childhood sweethearts and entered the sect together. Although Lu Ruoxian's talent was not as good as Yang Shan's, it was not much worse. Soon, Shui Hongluan arrived at the main peak again. Suddenly, Shui Hongluan paused and saw a suave figure in white looking at her affectionately. This figure was familiar yet unfamiliar, and time seemed to have gone back to 20 or 30 years ago. That year, she was in the prime of her life and had just started to fall in love. When she went out to explore the world, she was almost raped by a bad guy. But at this moment, a graceful figure in white fell from the sky, saved her life, and walked into her heart. For this reason, she traveled across thousands of miles of rivers and mountains, following in his footsteps and came to the 100 Sword sect, just to be close to him, but he was unmoved. Although 20 or 30 years have passed and time has left some marks on his face, he is still as handsome as ever. There is a beautiful woman whom I will never forget after seeing her. When I haven't seen you for a day, I miss you like crazy. The phoenix is flying high in the sky, and the four seas are looking for it. Unfortunately, the beauty is not at the east wall. I will use the zither to express my feelings. When will I see Shu-Shi again to comfort my wandering? I wish to match my words with your virtue and go hand in hand with you. Not being able to fly has caused me to perish. Phoenix, Phoenix, return to your hometown, travel around the world in search of your mate. If the time has not come, I have nothing to do. How can I realize that I will ascend to this hall now? There is a beautiful lady in the boudoir, and the people near and far away from me hurt my heart. Why do they embrace each other and become mandarin ducks? Why do they fly together? Phoenix, Phoenix, please come and live with me, so that I can raise my children and become your eternal concubine. We have a close relationship and our hearts are in harmony. Who knows that we are together in the middle of the night? Both wings rise and fly high, but they have no feeling for my thoughts, which makes me sad. Qin Haitian's voice was full of magnetism, and the look in his eyes when he looked at Shui Hongluan was full of affection. The song, Phoenix Seeking the Phoenix, was full of tenderness and deeply struck Shui Hongluan's soft heart. Hongluan, can you understand my deep love for you? Qin Haitian looked deeply at Shui Hongluan and said in a gentle voice. Shui Hongluan pursed her lips, looked at Qin Haitian in embarrassment and said, I don't understand what you are talking about. Qin Haitian. Shui Hongluan snorted, and proudly raised her delicate head. Her beautiful neck was white as snow. Yingyu's movements were a little too large, and she scolded, you said such hurtful words before, why are you doing this again now? Looking at Shui Hongluan's arrogant look, Qin Haitian sighed, Junior sister, put yourself in his shoes. My adopted son was crippled by your disciple, but you don't care about his situation. Instead, you come to plead for him. Although my adopted son has some problems with his style, he is the child I raised after all, and I have high hopes for him. Have you considered my feelings? Shui Hongluan's breath was choked when she heard this, and a look of shame appeared on her face. Some time ago, I met the third elder of the Demon Moon sect. I was seriously injured in that battle. Although I killed him, I almost died myself. At that time, what I thought was that as long as I could return to the sect alive, I would find an opportunity to confess my feelings to you. After returning to the sect, I secluded myself for many days and used countless precious elixirs before I recovered a little. Then I encountered the matter of my son and your apprentice. The first thing you did when you came to my door was to plead for your apprentice. I was so upset that I said such irrational words. For this, I apologize to you. Qin Haitian said apologetically, I'm sorry, I really don't know. Hearing Qin Haitian's words, Shui Hongluan's arrogant look was immediately replaced by panic. She came to Qin Haitian's side, her eyes red, and her face anxious, are you okay? Qin Haitian felt very relieved when he saw Shui Hongluan's genuine expression and her rapidly rising favorability. Through memory analysis, it was found that Shui Hongluan was an emotional woman. For such a woman, one must play the emotional card, such as expressing deep love, or showing weakness to stimulate her maternal instinct. Sure enough, this trick really works. It's no big deal, it's just that you can only exert the strength of the qi refining realm now. It will take some time to recover to the peak level of cultivation. Qin Haitian gave Shui Hongluan a gentle smile. Shui Hongluan's eyes were moist, and she looked at Qin Haitian with a guilty look on her face. I discovered that your cultivation level was at the qi refining stage before, and I thought you had practiced a powerful breath-retaining technique. I'm sorry, I was in seclusion before, and I really didn't know you were seriously injured. When he thought about wanting to slap Qin Haitian before, he felt even more guilty. However, the favorability towards Qin Haitian kept rising, even surpassing the previous highest point, reaching over 80. The burning emotions burned like flames. Qin Haitian gently touched Shui Hongluan's eyelids with his fingers and wiped away the wet tears. The latter's body trembled slightly, her eyelashes fluttered, and she looked a little silly. Although she was already an old woman, in her 40s or 50s, she was still considered a young person in the cultivation world, and had never experienced love. At this moment, she was aroused by Qin Haitian's intimate behavior, and her heart was shaken and she couldn't control herself. Then are you willing to forgive my previous behavior? Qin Haitian smiled warmly, with hope and expectation in his eyes. Yeah, Shui Hongluan nodded with a red face. Thank you, junior sister. Qin Haitian rubbed his hands and smiled. You look silly. Shui Hongluan looked at Qin Haitian's dazed look, who didn't look like a leader of a religion at all. Instead, he looked like a fool. She couldn't help but chuckle. It is said that a smile can make all the beauties in the palace pale in comparison. At this moment, Shui Hongluan makes all the beautiful flowers pale in comparison. Qin Haitian was simply stunned. Chapter 8 It's no big deal, I won't die. Shui Hongluan and Lu Ruoxian have different beauties. After all, the latter is only 18 years old, and both her figure and temperament are relatively immature. Shui Hongluan, on the other hand, is like a ripe peach, looking tempting and delicious. Qin Haitian lifted Shui Hongluan's chin, and the latter even closed her eyes, her eyelashes fluttering, feeling nervous and ashamed. Looking at those round and rosy lips, she couldn't help but kiss them. After a long time, their lips parted. Qin Haitian said to Shui Hongluan, whose face was flushed, I'll give you a gift. What gift? Shui Hongluan was curious. As he spoke, Qin Haitian handed the 100 Flowers Sword Manual and 100 Flowers Divine Art to Shui Hongluan and briefly explained their origins. Lu Ruoxian had already memorized the sword manual and the martial arts technique in her mind and no longer needed the secret book. The secret manual of the Baihua Palace that was wiped out 30 years ago. Shui Hongluan took a quick look and couldn't help but gasp. Baihua Palace was also a sect in Qingzhou back then, and it was the only 7th grade sect. It was much stronger than Baijian sect, which was an 8th grade sect, and even stronger than Muiwei sect, which is ranked first among the 8 major sects in Qingzhou today. Although the Demon Moon sect is now the number 1 among the 8 major sects, its strongest person is only at the Dao Tai realm, while the 100 Flowers Palace used to have a being that surpassed the Dao Tai realm. You should know that one of the 3rd elders of the Demon Moon sect died together with Qin Haitian's predecessor, which shows how powerful the Demon Moon sect is. However, the 3rd elder was beaten to death on the spot, while Qin Haitian died of his injuries after returning to the sect. This also shows that although Qin Haitian is stronger than the other, his strength is limited, but even such a powerful Demon Moon sect had to surrender to the 100 Flowers Palace back then. Yes, I got this by accident. Qin Haitian nodded. You can practice the 100 Flowers Divine Art again, maybe it can help you improve your cultivation in a short period of time. If I switch to this technique to practice again, I may need to be in seclusion for several months. Shui Hongluan looked at Qin Haitian and hesitated. Your injury. My injuries are very serious. It will take more than 1 or 2 years to recover. Moreover, my cultivation is relatively low now, so I need your help even more. After all, if someone finds out that my cultivation has dropped drastically, something unfavorable may happen to me. If your cultivation can be improved, I will have more confidence with your help. Qin Haitian said seriously. Well, okay, then I will go back and practice the 100 Flowers Divine Art and 100 Flowers Sword Manual again. Shui Hongluan said seriously. If he changed the technique he practiced to the 100 Flowers Divine Art and practiced it again, even if he could not break through to his next realm, his combat effectiveness would be greatly improved, and he might even be able to break through to the 7th level of the Star Sea realm. In addition to the 100 Flowers Sword Manual, if he could master 1 or 2 of it, then it would be no problem for him to fight against the 8th level of the Star Sea realm. Don't leave your main peak these days, otherwise if you are seen by other elders, or the peak master, or the supreme elder, they will definitely find some problems. Shui Hongluan put away the 2 priceless secret books and instructed Qin Haitian. I know, you don't have to worry too much about my situation. Practicing well is actually the biggest help to me. Qin Haitian looked at Shui Hongluan with relief and smiled sincerely. That's good. Shui Hongluan breathed a sigh of relief, paused and said, by the way, how is Mo Fei's injury? Hearing Shui Hongluan's words, Qin Haitian felt a little guilty, because he himself had never visited his son. This made him look like a father, but in fact, he didn't care about the life or death of this cheap son. It was only through the memory of his previous life that he knew that the other party was just an incompetent adopted son. However, he said with regret on his face, it's not a big deal, it's just that his cultivation was wasted, but he can't die. Shui Hongluan was speechless. Can't die, don't you want me to feel too guilty? Shui Hongluan looked at Qin Haitian with guilt on her face and asked softly. Although I was a little angry at first because he was abandoned, but if I think about it carefully, it is not a good thing for this kid to have cultivation. He might offend a powerful person one day and bring disaster to the sect. Qin Haitian said. Shui Hongluan was speechless. By the way, I plan to lock up your apprentice in the punishment hall for some time, and then ask him to make a verbal apology to Mo Fei. This will be considered as a punishment for him. Do you have any objection? Qin Haitian looked at Shui Hongluan. No objection. Shui Hongluan shook her head. This punishment was a very light one for Yongshan. If there is no punishment, that won't work. Otherwise, in future competitions, I'm afraid that people will be disabled due to mistakes. After all, where there are people, there are conflicts and fights. Then senior brother Qin, I'll go back first. Shui Hongluan pursed her lips and said, wait, senior brother Qin, is there anything else? Shui Hongluan looked at Qin Haitian with her beautiful eyes. The latter's eyes were a little hot, as if he wanted to eat her. Her heart trembled and her cheeks flushed. Let's have a kiss goodbye. Qin Tian lowered his head and smiled. Shui Hongluan cried out, her face flushed and she closed her eyes, but she didn't refuse. The kiss lasted for another half an hour. The good thing about cultivators is that they can hug each other for half an hour without their legs getting numb. Before leaving, Shui Hongluan gave Qin Haitian a glare of annoyance, said hello to Qin Haitian, and left with a red face. Chapter 9. Yongshan is restless. Qin Haitian was in a good mood as he watched Shui Hongluan tidy up her clothes and leave. Now Shui Hongluan's favorability towards him has reached 83 points. The improvement of her cultivation will bring him 83% of her cultivation experience feedback. Coupled with the 77% of her cultivation experience feedback from Lu Ruoxian, his cultivation level will be improved quickly. Ding tilde tilde tilde. The host successfully changed Shui Hongluan's fate to become Yongshan's woman, and took away 20,000 points of Yongshan's luck. Yongshan's remaining luck, 70,000 points. When Qin Haitian heard this voice, the smile on his face became a little brighter. Qin Haitian had previously speculated about the fact that Shui Hongluan would become his woman. If he had not traveled through time, his previous incarnation would have been dead, and his future would obviously revolve around Yongshan, the son of destiny. However, he intervened and not only successfully bound Shui Hongluan, but also successfully confessed his love to her. Although they have not yet practiced dual cultivation, they already have a certain degree of understanding of each other's body structure. With Shui Hongluan's personality traits, as long as he does not do anything that would anger heaven and man, Shui Hongluan will not leave him. Therefore, it is not wrong to say that it changed Shui Hongluan's own destiny. As for why Shui Hongluan's fate was changed and more luck points were taken away, this also indirectly illustrates one point, that is, Shui Hongluan is more important to Yongshan's fate. Qin Haitian looked at his luck value of 30,000 points and was very satisfied. If he drew 10 times from the primary prize pool, he could draw 30 times. However, the highest quality of the treasures in the primary prize pool was 3 stars. If he drew 10 times from the intermediate prize pool, the treasures would be of higher quality, and there was a guaranteed 5-star treasure. According to the system evaluation, heavenly level skills and martial arts are all 5-star treasures. But Qin Tian didn't want any of these, because for every 10 draws from the advanced prize pool, there was a guaranteed prize of at least 1 7-star treasure. He wanted to save it up, and when he could get all of Yongshan's 100,000 luck points, he could make a full 10 draws from the advanced prize pool. When Qin Haitian was about to go and see how Lu Ruoxian's practice was going, he found that Shui Hongluan had returned. What's wrong? Qin Haitian looked at Shui Hongluan and smiled. Well, I heard from my eldest disciple that after you called Lu Ruoxian to the main peak, you didn't come down the mountain, so I wanted to ask about the situation. Shui Hongluan pursed her lips and smiled shyly. Looking at Qin Haitian, she felt soft all over. The scene of him touching her all over was still vivid in her mind. You are talking about Lu Ruoxian. She is now in seclusion in the training room, trying to break through to the foundation establishment stage. I think she has good talent, so I am thinking of taking her in as my disciple, or as my adopted daughter. Qin Haitian explained with a smile. Oh, so that's it. Shui Hongluan suddenly realized. What else do you think I kept her on the mountain for? Qin Haitian said, looking at Shui Hongluan with a sly smile. Who knows why you left her on the mountain? Shui Hongluan glanced at Qin Haitian angrily, stomped her feet and rushed away. Bad guy, I'm leaving. Watching Shui Hongluan fleeing in panic, Qin Haitian smiled knowingly. What made Qin Haitian most satisfied was that Shui Hongluan's favorability had risen by another point. Apparently, his informal answer did not disgust Shui Hongluan, but instead made her feel closer to him. Of course, after calming down, Qin Haitian thought of a question. If the two girls knew in the future that he was dating both of them at the same time, would they break up with him in anger? It's hard to say. It is possible, and it is also possible not, but one thing is certain, the higher the favorability, the smaller the possibility of a direct breakup. However, this is not absolute, and it has something to do with the other person's personality. Whether it is Lu Ruoxian or Shui Hongluan, they are both women who like to hear sweet words. As long as you control the timing well and give them some little romance and little touching moments from time to time, they will follow you wholeheartedly. Why do I feel like I have forgotten something? Qin Tian muttered, and suddenly he slapped his head and remembered his cheap son, so he called the guards outside the main peak formation and gave them some instructions. Punishment Hall. Yang Shan was in a very bad mood. He felt like he had lost something important yesterday. Today he felt like he had lost another one, and it seemed even more important. This feeling was very uncomfortable and made him feel uneasy. He really wanted to go out and take a look, but the disciples of the punishment hall were taking turns guarding the door, so he couldn't get out at all. The disciples of the criminal law hall may not necessarily be very talented, but they are all very strong. The disciples who are guarding him have much higher cultivation than him. Senior Brother Tian, has anything big happened in the sect? Yang Shan asked the people outside the secret room. Big thing, you crippled the young master, which is the biggest thing that has ever happened to our sect. What other big thing do you want to happen? The person outside the door snorted coldly. If Yang Shan's background was not that he was the direct disciple of the master of Hongluan Peak, he would not have bothered to answer Yang Shan's questions. Yang Shan took a deep breath and said, Brother Tian, can I ask you something? Senior Brother Tian replied coldly, no. Yang Shan's breath was choked and he was extremely angry. You all were afraid of Qin Mofei, and I taught him a lesson for you. Not only were you not grateful to me, but you also acted as if you were drawing a line between you and me. You really deserved to be bullied. However, he really wanted to know what happened in the sect now, because if he didn't find out clearly, he would not be able to sleep well, and even his practice would not be able to calm down. Senior Brother Tian, I have a book of sword skills here, which is of Zan level quality. I got it by accident. It's useless for me to keep it, Yang Shan said through the door with a smile on his face. Here he stopped talking, but the meaning of his words is very clear. If you tell me what I want to know, then I will give you this secret book of swordsmanship, Zan level quality swordsmanship. If you want to obtain this kind of martial arts in the sect, you need a huge amount of contribution points. In the 100 Swords sect, although most of the cultivators are sword cultivators, there are also knife cultivators, gun cultivators, and other cultivators. Swish, Senior Brother Tian opened the door and looked at Yang Shan with a smile. A glimmer of greed flashed in his eyes. He said, oh, I can see that Junior Brother Yang is a sentimental person. I wonder who Junior Brother Yang wants to hear about. Senior Brother, I will tell you everything I know. Yang Shan secretly despised him in his heart, but smiled as he said, I can tell from the looks of it that Senior Brother Tian is a man of high moral character. As for me, I want to know about Senior Sister Lu, Senior Sister Leng, and my master. Well, Senior Brother Tian touched his chin, glanced at Yang Shan and didn't continue talking, but his meaning was very clear. If I don't see the benefits, how could I tell you? This is the first volume of the sword manual. I will give you the second volume after you tell me the situation. Yang Shan endured the depression in his heart, and he was filled with murderous intent. He had already made up his mind that after he got out, he would find a chance to kill this greedy guy. Because Qin Mofei dared to harass Lu Ruoxian, he dared to, accidentally, cripple Qin Mofei in front of so many people. This shows his personality. His life principle has always been that if someone offends me, I will repay him tenfold or 100-fold. Chapter 10 The Cheap Son Fainted From. Anger Senior Brother Tian took the secret book and glanced through it roughly, his eyes shining. It was indeed a Zan-level sword manual, which was like adding wings to a tiger for him to use a sword, but he also knew that if he didn't satisfy Yang Shan, the other party would never hand over the rest of the sword manual. So I gave a brief account of what I knew about the three people. Of course, what Senior Brother Tian knew was not the details. For example, he didn't know that Shui Hongluan had come out of seclusion. He knew that Lang Qingshuang wanted to see him but was blocked by them. He also knew that Lang Qingshuang had gone to call their master who was in seclusion. After listening to what Senior Brother Tian said, Yang Shan couldn't help but frown, and his anger rose in his heart. Master called Sister Ruoxian to the main peak and didn't come down the mountain for 2 days. What on earth is he doing? Among the 3 girls, his favorite was Lu Ruoxian. They were childhood sweethearts, and he had liked Lu Ruoxian since he was very young. He also knew that Lu Ruoxian liked her. He obtained a dual cultivation method, which said that when both parties had reached the foundation building stage and were at the same level, dual cultivation would be twice as effective with half the effort. He had originally thought that when Lu Ruoxian broke through to the foundation building stage, he would express his feelings to her and then become her Taoist partner. As for senior sister Leng Qingshuang, he could also feel that she should like him more, but her cultivation was much higher than his. He would wait until he and Lu Ruoxian did not practice dual cultivation and her cultivation was improved, and then he would choose an opportunity to confess his feelings. Even as for his master, he also had some thoughts that he could not tell outsiders. Qin Haitian, if you dare to hurt Shaner, I swear I will tear you into pieces. Yang Shan thought viciously in his heart, I have told you everything I need to tell you, junior brother Yang. What about the second half of the sword manual? Tian Dao rubbed his fingers and said with a smile, this half is enough for you to practice for a long time. Next, please help me keep an eye on the things in the outside world. After my master rescues me, I will give you the second half. Yang Shan said lightly, you. Tian Dao showed a hint of anger on his face when he heard this. Isn't this just playing tricks on him? Yang Shan looked at Tian Dao coldly, with a hint of sarcasm on his lips. What, you want to kill me? You can try. At this moment, a cold voice sounded, why are you not reflecting on yourself here? Disciple greets master. Yang Shan's expression changed when he heard that. The gloom on his face disappeared. Looking at the figure that appeared here, his expression turned into embarrassment. Greetings, master of Hongluan Peak. Tian Dao's expression also changed and he said respectfully, the headmaster has already said that I will spare your life this time, but you need to reflect here for some time. After the punishment is over, you can apologize to your junior brother Qin. Do you remember? Looking at Yang Shan, Shui Hongluan said lightly. Yes, disciple will remember it. Yang Shan was relieved when he heard that. He was just detained here for a while and had to apologize to Qin Mofei. This punishment was better than he expected. Now that you've remembered it, you should just practice and reflect here honestly during this period of time. After Shui Hongluan finished her instructions, she said, okay, I'm leaving first. Master, how is my junior sister Lu Ruoxian doing now? Yang Shan asked anxiously. He had heard Tian Dao say that Lu Ruoxian went to the main peak yesterday and never came down again. He was now scratching his head. The master may want to accept Lu Ruoxian as his disciple. Now Lu Ruoxian is in seclusion in the main peak. You don't have to worry about her situation. Shui Hongluan said. The reason why she said it directly was that she was worried that if the news of Lu Ruoxian staying in the main peak spread, it would affect Qin Haitian's reputation. If she said it, Tian Dao, who was watching not far away, would definitely spread the news. Oh, Yang Shan breathed a sigh of relief. He briefly told Yang Shan to stay here and then left. Medical Hall. After waking up today, Qin Mofei went crazy when he learned that his Dantian was destroyed and he had become a disabled person. Yang Shan, I'm going to tear him into pieces. Qin Mofei roared. The people in the medical hall who were taking care of Qin Mofei looked at each other in bewilderment when they heard Qin Mofei's roar. After roaring for a while, Qin Mofei finally calmed down and looked at the few people with a gloomy face and said, my fellow disciples, what is Yang Shan's current situation? What did my father say? Junior brother Qin, junior brother Yang is now being held in the punishment hall. One of the brothers spoke up. As for the master, he announced the punishment for Yang Shan not long ago. He will imprison Yang Shan for 3 months and then apologize to you. Another senior brother from the medical hall said awkwardly. After hearing what the two said, Qin Mofei was stunned. What is the difference between this punishment and no punishment? Impossible, this is impossible. Qin Mofei looked as if he had suffered a huge blow, with a look of dismay on his face. Among the 4 brothers and sisters, their father loved them the most. So, why, after they were crippled, their father didn't come to visit them? Why was the punishment so light for the person who crippled them? He even had the absurd feeling that his father had been replaced by a different person. By the way, the master just told us to tell you to be an honest person and live the rest of your life well. Another senior brother said softly. Puff. Qin Mofei couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Is this my biological father? No, he is not. Why is my biological father so indifferent to me? That person may be telling the truth. The next moment, Qin Mofei felt the world spinning around him, and then he fainted. Before he fainted, he heard a cry of surprise. If he died like this, maybe it would be good. He really didn't want to become a waste. Main peak. Qin Haitian was having lunch. Before his cultivation reached the foundation establishment stage, he was always easily hungry. His cultivation was now at the qi refining stage, but his body had reached the 9th level of the star C stage after all, so he was even more likely to be hungry. He asked the spiritual chef to prepare 3 meals a day. As for the fasting pills, he didn't want to eat them. Although they could satisfy hunger, they tasted too ordinary. However, when spiritual vegetables, spiritual rice, spiritual meat, etc. were made into dishes, they were not only delicious but also beneficial to the body. Ding tilde tilde tilde, you disappointed Qin Mofei and even made him hate you, changing the direction of Qin Mofei's life. You gained 5,000 points of luck. The remaining luck of Qin Mofei, the child of destiny, is 45,000 points. No, my adopted son is also the son of destiny. Qin Haitian was dumbfounded. He took a deep breath, suppressed the shock in his heart, touched his chin, and muttered, it seems that he may rise again. As for why Qin Mofei, the son of destiny, had his dantian destroyed, firstly, his luck value might not be as good as Yongshan's, and secondly, maybe his destiny was to be destroyed by Yongshan and then rise. I should have known earlier that I would meet my adopted son first. If I had met him earlier, maybe I would have known the reason. Qin Haitian muttered. Of course, he didn't regret it so much, because his current cultivation level was only at the qi refining stage. Not to mention the core disciples and inner disciples, even the outer disciples were not as good as him. If any spy from the Demon Moon sect could get a glimpse of his background, it would not be a good thing. Wait, if I hadn't traveled through time, his father would have been dead, and his dantian would have been destroyed, so could he still be the child of destiny? Thinking of this, Qin Haitian couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. It's really hard to say. Maybe Qin Mofei, the child of destiny, was created by himself. Of course, he is just speculating now. Chapter 11 Young Immortal Chicky. Time flies and 7 days have passed. During these 7 days, Qin Haitian occasionally practiced the 100 Flowers sword technique, but his progress was touching. Now he is only at the 0.001% level, which is not even considered as entry level. He can only be regarded as having mastered some insignificant basics. My comprehension is not good. After practicing for several days, my comprehension of martial arts is simply terrible. After Qin Haitian finished another half-hour sword practice, he sighed secretly while eating breakfast. His predecessor had a high talent for martial arts, but Qin Tian failed, so he relied on his 2 beauties. However, the 2 beauties, whether it was Lu Ruoxian or Shui Hongluan, were practicing martial arts and not swordsmanship, so he had no way to do anything. While eating breakfast, he opened the system main panel. Open black lens bracket. Villain beauty system close black lens bracket host. Qin Haitian cultivation. 5th level of qi refining realm experience 1300 500ths beauty. 2 luck value. 35,000 points kung fu. 100 flowers magic skill level 3 138 300ths martial arts. 100 flowers sword technique 0.001% warehouse. 3-star favorability card 1, 3-second true man pill 1. The 100 flowers divine art made rapid progress, and the greatest credit for this naturally went to Shui Hongluan. She revised the 100 flowers divine art and provided Qin Tian with a lot of experience feedback, but her cultivation level did not improve much. The biggest reason for this was that she revised it instead of starting from scratch. The first level of 100 flowers divine art corresponds to the qi refining realm. The second level corresponds to the foundation establishment realm, the third level corresponds to the profound knowledge realm, and the fourth level corresponds to the sea of stars realm. The higher the level of your skills, the easier it will be to break through as long as you have enough experience. The cultivation level has improved again, and it has improved so much in just one night. It seems that my 2 beauties have worked very hard in their cultivation. Qin Haitian's face suddenly lit up when he saw that the breakthrough experience in cultivation had reached the standard. Then I clicked on upgrade, and upgraded twice in a row. Suddenly Qin Haitian felt that his body had undergone another transformation. Both the quality of his true qi and his physical body had been greatly improved. Moreover, his understanding of qi refining had also increased a lot. Cultivation. Qi refining stage 7 experience 200 700ths. After looking at the experience needed to upgrade to the 7th level of qi refining, Qin Haitian nodded secretly. If his two Taoist companions practiced hard enough, they would be able to break through again tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. After dinner, Qin Haitian asked the servants to clear away the dishes. It's time to go check on my adopted son. Qin Haitian's eyes flickered slightly. The system says that we can check the recent opportunities of the Son of Destiny. Maybe we can find out something. At this moment, Qin Tian heard footsteps coming from the direction of a training room and turned his head to look over there. Why did you come out of seclusion? Qin Haitian asked in surprise at first, then he thought of something and glanced at Lu Ruoxian's message on the panel, with a look of joy on his face. Hey, you broke through. Yes, I have made a breakthrough. Lu Ruoxian's face was also full of excitement. After switching to the 100 flowers divine art you gave me, I found that the speed of cultivation is more than 100 times faster than the previous cultivation method. In addition, with the foundation building pill you gave me, I am now successfully building a foundation, and the quality of the foundation is top-notch. When I first met Lu Ruoxian some time ago, her cultivation level was only at the minor success level of the 10th level of Qi refining realm. It would have taken a lot of time to reach perfection. The fact that she was able to break through to the foundation establishment realm in less than 10 days was a disguised demonstration of the extraordinary nature of the 100 Flowers divine art. After all, it was the most powerful book in the Baihua Palace, and only a very small number of people could practice it. It was much more powerful than the practice methods passed down by the Baijian sect, so it was reasonable that it could have such an effect. Top-level foundation building, that's very good. Qin Haitian smiled. Lu Ruoxian had been practicing the yellow-level technique before, and now that she has switched to the heaven-level top-grade white flower divine art, it would be strange if her speed couldn't be increased. By the way, did you release senior brother Yongshan? Lu Ruoxian suddenly asked with concern. Hearing Lu Ruoxian's words, Qin Haitian's face darkened. You asked about him right after you came out, are you still in love with him? No. Hearing Qin Haitian's words, Lu Ruoxian's face changed, and she said hurriedly, I'm just asking, and after all, it was because of me that Yongshan had a duel with senior brother Qin and made such a big mistake. Seeing Lu Ruoxian's anxious look, Qin Haitian was secretly satisfied. He didn't expect Lu Ruoxian to abandon Yongshan all of a sudden. If she was such a person, she was not worthy of his sincere treatment. Since I've promised you, I naturally won't kill him. But after all, he crippled my son, so I can't just let him go. I've already given the order to lock him up in the secret room of the punishment hall to reflect for some time, and then let him apologize to my son. Qin Haitian said. After hearing what Qin Haitian said, Lu Ruoxian breathed a sigh of relief. Such a punishment was really very light, and she was worthy of senior brother Yongshan. The next day, Qin Tian discovered that Lu Ruoxian's appearance had actually improved a little, from 93 to 94, catching up with Shui Hongluan. I don't know if it's because she's grown up a little, or if her body has undergone a transformation after her cultivation breakthrough. Of course, the biggest possibility is that she is only 18 years old and still has room to grow. Chapter 12 Father and Son Meet Baijian Sect, Medical Hall. Ever since Qin Mofei learned about the punishment that his father, the headmaster, had imposed on Yongshan a few days ago, he fainted from anger. After waking up again, he was filled with resentment towards Qin Haitian. At this moment, his communication token vibrated, and he answered the call, saying in a gloomy voice, "Why are you calling again? Do you want to know your true life experience? Do you want to recover your cultivation? If so, then go to Longtan Valley outside Baijian sect." The voice was full of temptation. "I'm waiting for you here. Also, don't bring anyone else here, otherwise, you will never know your true life experience, and don't even think about recovering your cultivation. By the way, has the so-called father you rely on visited you these days?" Qin Mofei was about to scold, but he swallowed it back. This person had told him his true background before. He thought the other party was a liar and ignored him. He even wanted to tell his father about it, but gave up after thinking about it because he didn't know where the person who sent the message was and he had never even met the other person. Moreover, his father gave up on him, but he himself didn't want to give up on himself. In this world, if you become a useless person, then you might as well be dead than alive. Who are you? Why do you know so much about the situation of the 100 Sword Sect? Are you from the 100 Sword Sect? Qin Mofei asked in a deep voice. Don't ask too much, don't ask too many questions, and don't try to tell your so-called father. As for my identity, I will naturally not tell you now. If you don't want to become a useless person, do as I say. Then when should I go? Chin Mofei gritted his teeth. He didn't want to talk about his background. He just wanted to restore his cultivation. Even if he couldn't restore his cultivation, he had to repair his dantian. Just go ahead, I'll show up when you get there. Remember, you can only go alone. I see. What? He is leaving the sect. Qin Haitian's expression changed after hearing the deacon of the medical hall report that Qin Mofei was leaving the sect. At this time, he thought that Qin Mofei was also the son of destiny. If he left the sect this time, he might be able to restore his dantian and even his cultivation. He knew that there were rare treasures in this world that could restore dantian, but they were very rare and each one was priceless. Let him stay in the medical hall first, I'll go see him right away. Qin Haitian said to the medical hall deacon who had sent the message. Yes, master. After hanging up the call, Qin Haitian looked at Lu Ruoxian who was woken up by him and said, if you want to sleep, sleep a little longer. I'm going to go out for a while. You want to go see your son? Lu Ruoxian looked at Qin Haitian with a strange expression. Come to think of it, Qin Haitian's son Qin Mofei is one of my suitors, and he is older than me. If we meet again, I'm afraid he will call me stepmother. When she thought of this, she felt embarrassed. Yes, he wants to leave the sect. I want to ask about the situation. After all, he has no cultivation now, and it would be difficult for him to survive if he leaves the sect. Qin Haitian said seriously. This is also to prevent Lu Ruoxian from thinking that he is a cold-hearted person. As for the fact that Qin Mofei was his adopted son rather than his biological son, it would be better not to tell Lu Ruoxian, otherwise he would have to explain it again. Then you go, I should get up and practice sword. Lu Ruoxian pursed her lips and said. It was also her responsibility that Qin Mofei was abandoned, so it didn't feel appropriate to say anything. In the medical room, this was the first time Qin Haitian saw his adopted son. He looked quite respectable. He had heard before that he was a playboy. Perhaps his cultivation was wasted and he was hit because he did not come to see him. Now he looked a little sinister. Wow! The detector is activated. Information about Qin Mofei came into view. Name: Qin Mofei. Cultivation: none. Dantian is broken, in a useless state. Luck value: 45,000 points. Favorability: minus 18 points. Resentment. Recent opportunity. Location: Longtan Canyon. Qin Haitian's eyes flashed slightly. What opportunities are there in Longtan Canyon? The system only gave the location, but did not elaborate on what the specific opportunity was. His current cultivation level was only at the qi refining stage, so it was not a problem for him to reach Longtan Canyon, but if he encountered a powerful monster, or an existence that wanted to kill people and steal treasures, wouldn't he be a dead end? Although he has the 3-second true man pill, he can only be strong for 3 seconds. He can withstand a crisis once, but he will be exhausted after 2 times. Moreover, if the opponent is too strong, he may be killed before he can use this treasure. I heard that you are planning to leave the sect, Qin Haitian said lightly, looking at his adopted son Qin Mofei. It's better to go out and explore the world than to stay in the sect as a useless person. Maybe you can find a treasure to restore your dantian. Qin Mofei said lightly. In the past, he was full of awe when facing his father, but in recent days he has seen through him, so he doesn't have much awe of Qin Haitian anymore. You have no cultivation now, and going out to explore the world will be full of dangers. Your father has already asked someone to help you find a treasure to restore your dantian. Just wait patiently, Qin Haitian said. Qin Mofei's expression changed for a moment, but soon returned to normal. He didn't know when Qin Haitian would be found. Now he had the opportunity to recover his dantian and even his cultivation level. Why should he wait in the sect? Moreover, this father has been too indifferent to him recently. He destroyed his enemy and simply punished him. In addition, that man said that he was not Qin Haitian's biological son. If that was the case, there was no need for him to wait in the sect. No need. Qin Mofei shook his head. Seeing that Qin Mofei had made up his mind, Qin Haitian muttered secretly, with such a firm will, it seems that this opportunity should belong to him. Should we find a way to intercept this opportunity? This guy is just the adopted son of my previous life, not my biological son, and I don't have any feelings for him at all, otherwise he wouldn't have come to visit me over the past few days. You should know that the news that he had given up on this small account began to spread secretly in the sect. After thinking about it, I decided to give up. After all, this guy was the adopted son of my previous life. It was hard for me to snatch his opportunity. Of course, if he wanted to kill me in the future, don't blame me for being cruel. He has no feelings for Qin Mofei at all. Since you have made up your mind, it's up to you. Qin Haitian said lightly. Qin Mofei. Originally, he was thinking about how he would refuse if Qin Haitian sent deacons, elders or the like to protect him. Unexpectedly, Qin Haitian didn't even mention it, which made Qin Mofei's resentment towards Qin Haitian increase even more. Qin Haitian was speechless as he watched Qin Mofei's resentment rising rapidly. How had his predecessor brought him up? He had spoiled him for more than 20 years, but just because a few things didn't go his way, he didn't reflect on his own problems, but instead hated him as his father. This made Qin Haitian want to slap him to death. Thinking of this, Qin Haitian became restless. If that was the case, then wouldn't the remaining 45,000 luck points be plundered directly? Qin Mofei inexplicably felt a chill rising up, and looked at Qin Haitian fearfully. Father. Father. Qin Haitian glanced at Qin Mofei indifferently, then walked away. The main reason was that he couldn't bring himself to do it. After all, his greatest bloody achievement in his previous life was to turn a girl into a woman. Killing someone, and that person being the adopted son of my previous life, it's simply impossible to do this, okay. Watching Qin Haitian leave, Qin Mofei breathed a sigh of relief, and soon his eyes became determined. Without his father's obstruction, it would be very easy for him to leave the sect. Chapter 13, Breakthrough in Foundation Establishment. Black Robe Venerable Qin Haitian heaved a long sigh of relief when he returned to the main peak. Fortunately, he did not meet other peak masters or inner sect elders along the way, otherwise, they would have been able to see at a glance that his cultivation level was at the qi refining stage. Of course, he should be able to get away with it by explaining himself, but it would take a lot of effort, wouldn't it? Moreover, what he feared most was that the spies of the Demon Moon sect would notice it. After all, the people of the Demon Moon sect might know that he was seriously injured. As soon as he returned to the main peak, Qin Tian's face was filled with joy. Because the system prompt sounded. Ding tilde tilde tilde, your cultivation can be upgraded. The system will not prompt when sleeping or practicing. This is what Qin Tian has instructed. For example, he didn't know about the upgrade in the morning until he checked the panel. Qin Tian took a look at the cultivation column. Cultivation. Qi refining level 7, experience 3,500 700ths. How come my cultivation level has improved so much all of a sudden? Qin Haitian took a breath, then he thought of something, looked at the situation of Shui Hongluan in the beauty room, and immediately understood. Shui Hongluan's cultivation level broke through from the 6th level of the Star Sea Realm to the 7th level of the Star Sea Realm. So that's how it is. Qin Haitian praised. Shui Hongluan had successfully broken through from the 6th level of Star Sea Realm to the entry level of the 7th level. It seemed that the gap was only a short one, but in fact the level of strength had leapt greatly. Her favorability is now 85, and the cultivation experience feedback she gives to Qin Tian is also 85%. Upgrade, upgrade. Qin Haitian nodded a few times with his mind, and his cultivation level continued to rise, and his body was also constantly transforming. This intuitive change was like watching a small tree grow into a towering tree in the blink of an eye. Cultivation. Qi refining level 8, experience 2,800 800ths cultivation. Qi refining level 9, experience 2,900ths cultivation. Qi refining level 10, experience 1,100 1,000. When your cultivation level reaches the 10th level of Qi refining, your experience points will be full and you can continue to improve. Qin Haitian's eyes lit up slightly, and then he clicked on the upgrade breakthrough again. As a result, his cultivation level underwent a drastic change this time. Cultivation. Foundation Establishment Stage 1, experience 110 thousandths. Qin Haitian was in a very happy mood. He reached the foundation establishment stage from nothing in just less than 10 days. This feeling was very exciting. Although the foundation establishment stage was not considered strong yet and he could only be an inner disciple in the Baijian sect, the joy of binding with the goddess to help him practice was something that most people could not experience at all. Why are you so happy? Lu Ruoxian finished her sword practice and was puzzled when she saw Qin Haitian walking towards her with a smile on his face. Because my cultivation has made a small progress, Qin Haitian said with a smile. Ah, that's great, that means you will become a Daotai realm being soon. Lu Ruoxian's eyes lit up. It's still a long way from the Daotai realm, but as long as you continue to practice hard, I will be able to reach this realm soon. Qin Haitian raised the corners of his mouth. Ah, Lu Ruoxian was a little confused when she heard Qin Haitian's words. What did he mean by, keep working hard and you will achieve it soon? When she wanted to get to the bottom of it, Qin Haitian didn't give her the chance to ask and went straight into the house. Cultivating goodwill is a long process and cannot be wasted. 3 days later. Longtan Canyon. Qin Mofei didn't know how he had managed to get here on foot. You know, there were many crises along the way, and he was always in a state of fear, but at least he managed to escape danger safely. In the past, let alone when he had no cultivation, even when he had cultivation, when he went out to explore, he would ask his father to send a few deacons to follow him to protect him. After arriving at Longtan Canyon, Qin Mofei opened the communication token and was ready to inform the person that he had arrived. A voice sounded, "Not bad, you have perseverance and courage." Qin Mofei looked up and saw a man in a black robe with a black cloth covering his face. His age could not be determined. He couldn't help but frown and said, "You are so shameless, are you? Oh, no wonder everyone says that you, Qin Mofei, were arrogant in the sect. Now that you have become an ordinary person, your personality has not changed." The hoarse voice of the man in black robe sounded, "Don't you know that if I want to kill you now, I only need to snap my fingers? It is not a wise move to anger me. You took so much trouble to lure a useless person like me out here. If you really want to kill me, then I will accept it." Qin Mofei laughed and said, "Just tell me what your purpose is. If it can help me recover my cultivation, as long as your request is not too excessive, I will agree to it." The black-robed man's breathing stagnated, and then he laughed loudly, Interesting, I really underestimated you." Qin Mofei didn't say anything, but just watched the black-robed man smiling quietly. After going through so many ups and downs, his temperament had naturally changed drastically compared to before. He muttered secretly in his heart, "This person who dares to call himself the master, his cultivation level is probably at least at the Star Sea realm. As for whether he has reached the Dao Tai realm, he doesn't know. The cultivators at the Dao Tai realm are at the top of the pyramid of combat power in Qingzhou. Even if he is not at the Dao Tai realm or the Xinghai realm, it is enough to establish a sect. I can help you recover your Dantian, and even restore your cultivation, or even improve it. But I have only one request, and that is to wait for an opportunity to kill Qin Haitian and become the head of the 100 Swords sect." The black-robed man looked at Qin Mofei and smiled, "I wonder if you dare." "Impossible." Qin Mofei flatly refused. Although Qin Haitian's behavior chilled his heart, it was impossible for him to commit patricide. How would that be different from an animal? "I told you before, he is not your biological father." The man in black robe looked at Qin Mofei deeply and said, "In fact, Qin Haitian is not only not your biological father, but also the enemy who killed your father." "What? Impossible? This is simply impossible." Hearing this, Qin Mofei was shocked and couldn't believe it. Chapter 14 Revenge for the Murder of One's Father. Seeing the unbelievable look on Qin Mofei's face, the man in black robe grinned and said, "Do you know what kind of martial arts your father practices?" Qin Mofei opened his mouth and said, "I don't know." He really didn't know about this. He once wanted to ask his father if he could teach him, but was rejected. But he knew that the martial arts and swordsmanship his father practiced were both extraordinary, because it was extremely rare to be able to surpass one's level in the Star Sea realm. His father was able to fight against opponents of higher levels, and his combat power was very strong, which in itself showed that his foundation and swordsmanship were extraordinary. After the 100 Flowers Palace was destroyed, the 100 Flowers Divine Art and the 100 Flowers Sword Manual were lost and were obtained by your father. The black-robed man laughed. Baihua Palace. Qin Mofei took a breath when he heard that. Even though he had been arrogant and domineering before, relying on his status as the son of the headmaster, he was able to tell many stories in history of Qingzhou. More than 30 years ago, Baihua Palace was the #1 sect in Qingzhou and the only 7th grade sect. There was a being who surpassed the Dao Tai realm in the sect, but after the death of that being who surpassed the Dao Tai realm, Baihua Palace was besieged by many forces and then destroyed overnight. The Baihua Palace thus became history, and its heritage, the heavenly level cultivation techniques and sword manuals also disappeared. "You haven't told me my background yet." Qin Mofei looked at the man in black robe and said coldly. When the 100 Flowers Palace was destroyed, only the saint of the 100 Flowers Palace escaped. She carried with her the 100 Flowers magical art and the 100 Flowers sword manual. The man was innocent, but the one who possessed the treasure was guilty. The saint originally wanted to lie in hiding and wait for an opportunity to make a comeback, but she was afraid of being discovered, so she got married and even had a child. You know who this child is even if I don't tell you, right? The man in black robe looked at Chin Mofei. It's me. Chin Mofei was stunned when he heard that. Yes, it's you. 23 years ago, when you were born not long ago, Chin Haitian was passing by and found the Holy Maiden of Flowers, your mother, and then killed her and even your entire family. Then he snatched away the 100 Flowers Divine Art and the 100 Flowers Sword Manual from your mother. Said the man in black robe. Why doesn't he kill me? Chin Mofei's face turned gloomy and he said in a hoarse voice. Maybe he wants to redeem himself out of guilt. Or maybe he thinks you were just a baby without consciousness. Who knows the real reason? The man in black robe shrugged and said. Since he killed everyone, why do you know? Chin Mofei gritted his teeth and said in a deep voice. Because someone didn't die back then, and I saved him. The black-robed man said calmly. Seeing a hint of doubt in Chin Mofei's eyes, he added, as for why no one has announced it to the public, the reason is very simple, because there is no evidence, and many forces were involved in the destruction of Baihua Palace at that time, so it is meaningless to say it out. Suddenly, Chin Mofei's eyes turned red. Of course, he also knew that the most likely possibility was that the force to which the black-robed man belonged might want to monopolize the Baihua Palace's martial arts and sword manuals, so they did not make it public. He believed what the man in black robe said, because it could also explain why Chin Haitian was so doting on him in previous years, and why he was so indifferent to him now. Because he is not his biological child, and he was killed to wipe out the entire family. Since he has become a useless person, just let him fend for himself. It all makes sense. Seeing the hatred in Chin Mofei's eyes, the black-robed man smiled, but the smile was fleeting. He then took out a crystal bottle from his storage ring and said, this bottle contains a precious liquid made from the Senluo demon fruit, mantis demon wings, and other precious natural treasures. It not only contains a powerful effect of repairing the Dantian, but also has a huge effect of improving cultivation. How come I've never heard of such a powerful precious liquid before? A hint of suspicion flashed in Chin Mofei's eyes. Because it came from Zhongzhou, said the man in black robe. Zhongzhou, I see. Chin Mofei's eyes showed a look of relief when he heard it. The land of Zhongzhou is the core area of the Dio domain. The cultivation atmosphere there, the number of geniuses and masters, etc. are far superior to other states. Compared with it, Qingzhou is like a small place in the countryside. It is called the core area of the Dio domain. Chin Mofei took the precious liquid handed over by the black-robed man with trembling fingers. Let's go, I'll take you somewhere. The man in black robe then lifted Chin Mofei's arm and appeared again, already in a deep cave. Do you see the altar? Sit on it and take the precious liquid. Your Dantian and cultivation will be restored. If you can resist the pain brought by the precious liquid and not faint, the speed of your cultivation growth will surprise and shock you. Otherwise, all your previous efforts may be wasted. The man in black robe said to Chin Mofei. Painful, not unconscious. Chin Mofei's mouth twitched. There is no such thing as getting something for nothing in this world. If you want to gain the benefits brought by this precious liquid, you must naturally endure the pain brought by it. Said the man in black robe lightly. I understand. Chin Mofei took a deep breath, then stepped onto the altar and sat cross-legged in the center of the altar. The black-robed man activated the formation, and at the same time, his voice reached Chin Mofei's ears. In order to become stronger and for revenge, you must not faint. Chin Mofei didn't say anything, but drank the bottle of precious liquid resolutely. The next moment, he roared in pain. His face was hideous and terrifying like a devil. Chin Mofei thought of the pain brought by the treasure liquid repair, but he didn't expect that the pain brought by the treasure liquid would be so intense. It was simply heart-wrenching and painful. At the same time, outside the altar, an old man appeared beside the black-robed man. He looked at the black-robed man and said respectfully, Master, do you think this kid can succeed? We have tried it many times before, and each time ended in failure. Because the previous person's will was not as strong as this kid's after his Dantian was destroyed, it was natural for him to be unable to withstand the pain in his soul to collapse. But this kid is different. His will for revenge is very strong. The most important thing is that he firmly believed in the story I made up. The black-robed man said with a hint of amusement on his face. This is information asymmetry. Chin Mofei didn't know when Chin Haitian started practicing the 100 Flowers Divine Art and the 100 Flowers Sword Manual. If he knew, he would find that the black-robed man's words were full of loopholes. Qin Haitian obtained the 100 Flowers magical art and the 100 Flowers sword manual when he was 18 years old. That year, the 100 Flowers palace had just been destroyed, which was more than 30 years ago. At that time, Qin Mofei was not even born. The man in black robe also bet that Qin Haitian would never tell Qin Mofei these things, because the other party did not teach Qin Mofei the 100 Flowers sword technique, and in fact it was true. When he successfully refines the precious liquid that contains your life essence and blood, seeing you will be like seeing his own father. And as long as his cultivation level is not higher than yours, he will not rebel. We will have planted an extremely important chess piece in the 100 Swords sect, said the old man. Of course, although this kid has good talent, it is still impossible for him to surpass me in the future. If there is such a trend in the future, I will kill him with my own hands. The man in black robe said coldly. How could he make wedding clothes for others for no reason? Even if Qin Mofei was a chess piece planted for him to destroy the Baijian sect, he would not give this chess piece the opportunity to become a chess player one day. Chapter 15, I'm a professional in acting. I don't know how much time had passed. Qin Mofei almost fainted countless times, but he finally relied on his great willpower to withstand the painful torture. Qin Mofei felt like he had been to the underworld. He opened his eyes and felt his own strength, and a look of joy appeared on Qin Mofei's face. Not only did his dantian recover, but his cultivation also recovered. No, not only did it recover, it even went to a higher level, reaching the 10th level of perfection in the Foundation Establishment realm. He was almost able to break through to the Tongshuan realm. You know, with his normal cultivation speed, it would take more than 3 to 5 years to reach the 10th level of the Foundation Establishment realm. He believed that if he met Yang Shan, who had crippled him last time, again, he could kill him with just one sword. The next moment, he saw the man in black robe. For some reason, when he looked at the other person, he had an extremely intimate feeling, just like a father. He had never had such a feeling towards Qin Haitian before. The next moment, the man in black robe took off the veil on his face. Seeing the black-robed man, Qin Mofei was startled, because he had seen him before. He looked at him with trepidation and respect. Are you the leader of the Demon Moon sect? That's right, the leader of the Demon Moon sect nodded. If Qin Mofei's identity was not more important, as he was the son of the head of the 100 Swords sect, he would not have come in person. If this chess piece is used well, the entire Baijian sect can be controlled in the future. However, the leader of the Baijian sect, Qin Haitian, Qin Mofei's father, is too talented. Not long ago, he killed the third elder of their Moyue sect with a sword. If he is not curbed, he will surely reach the Daotai realm in the future, and may even be able to impact the 6th realm of martial arts, the Four Symbols realm. The Four Symbols realm, in Qingzhou, the last person to reach this realm was the old palace master of the 100 Flowers Palace, but she has died. Senior, is there anything you want me to do? Qin Mofei asked with anticipation in his eyes. Although you hate Qin Haitian to the core, remember, don't show any murderous intent or hatred, said the leader of the Moyu sect. I know. Qin Mofei gritted his teeth. Why could he endure the endless pain? It was because he wanted revenge. By the way, you should observe Qin Haitian carefully to see if his injuries are serious, said the leader of the Moyu sect. Huh, Qin Mofei was stunned when he heard that. A few days ago, he had a fight with the third elder of my Demon Moon sect. On that occasion, the third elder of our sect died, and your enemy was also seriously injured. These are the reasons why he did not show up to see you when you were injured a few days ago, said the Demon Moon sect master. Is that so? Qin Mofei couldn't help but raise his eyebrows when he heard that. Before, he thought that after he was crippled, the other party no longer cared about him. Could there be another reason? Come back to me. He is my enemy. You cannot be grateful to him. Find a chance and kill him to avenge your blood feud. The leader of the Demon Moon sect looked at Qin Mofei with his eyes flickering. He knew that this guy had changed since he was crippled and experienced painful torture not long ago. He was worried that he might think of something, so he interrupted his thoughts and said, you can find a chance to let him guide you. With your current cultivation of the 10th level of the Foundation Establishment realm, if his injuries are serious, you may be able to kill him directly. In this way, you can avenge yourself. Really, Qin Mofei thought. Time always passes by quietly without us noticing. This day, 100 Swords sect, Qin Haitian was lying on a recliner, eating grapes and watching Lu Ruoxian dancing with a sword. She was so beautiful that her every move and stillness was filled with incomparable charm. People say that girls are beautiful when they are serious. Qin Haitian agreed with this, especially when he saw his 100 flowers sword skill experience points increasing little by little. The joy in his heart was about to overflow, and he glanced at the martial arts column on the panel. Martial arts. 100 flowers sword technique 3.01% up pointing arrow. After Lu Ruoxian finished practicing sword, she stopped practicing. Qin Haitian hugged Lu Ruoxian, kissed her for a while, and patted her. Go take a shower and prepare to eat, Qin Haitian said in a gentle voice. In fact, Lu Ruoxian has established her foundation now, so it is no problem for her not to eat. However, the food contains spiritual energy, and eating it will be of great benefit. I know, Lu Ruoxian glared at Qin Haitian. After losing her youthfulness, her charm became even stronger, which made Qin Haitian's heart waver. Suddenly, Qin Haitian's expression changed and he looked towards the entrance of the main peak. Not long after, a figure came into view. It was his adopted son Qin Mofei. At the same time, relevant information about Qin Mofei came into his sight. Name: Qin Mofei. Cultivation: perfection of the 10th level of foundation establishment. Luck value: 45,000 points. Favorability: -100. Revenge for killing my father, hatred for stealing my wife. Recent opportunity. Location: Baijian sect's main peak. Qin Haitian almost lost his composure when he saw the information about Qin Mofei. 10 days ago, Qin Mofei's cultivation was destroyed. Only 10 days have passed, and Qin Mofei's cultivation has not only recovered, but has also improved by several levels. Moreover, the favorability level became -100, which made Qin Haitian want to laugh. His predecessor had paid a lot for this adopted son, but he didn't expect that he would hate him so much after what he had experienced. The opportunity is at the main peak, which is where I live. What kind of opportunity can he have? Qin Haitian muttered to himself, and laughed dumbly. Could he kill me to take the treasure? Thinking of this, Qin Haitian's expression froze and his smile faded. This is not impossible. If I can't check his relevant information, and he suddenly kills me, it is possible that he will succeed. In this case, all the treasures on me will become Qin Mofei's, right? You know, there are quite a few treasures in his treasure house on the main peak. Father. Qin Mofei saw Qin Haitian and said excitedly, my dantian and cultivation have recovered. He looked like he was waiting for his father's praise, and he seemed excited, but there was an imperceptible flash of hatred in the depths of his eyes. Qin Haitian praised in his heart, this son of a bitch really acted like this. It's totally different from the image of an arrogant and domineering playboy. Setbacks really do make people grow, this is absolutely true. Although he had some thoughts in his mind, he looked delighted and said, really? That's great, how did you do it? When it comes to acting, Qin Haitian has never been afraid of anyone. When I was out exploring, I accidentally saw a kind of fruit. And then I tried it. Unexpectedly, my dantian and cultivation were restored. Qin Mofei had already thought of the wording, and explained excitedly. Really, God really bless my son. Qin Haitian laughed. Father, I wonder if you can give me some guidance on martial arts. Qin Mofei said with anticipation on his face. Provide martial arts instruction. Qin Haitian raised his eyebrows slightly. Was he going to reveal his true intentions? While he was instructing the other party, he suddenly attacked. Chapter 16. Qin Mofei's mentality collapsed. Qin Mofei sneered in his heart. If Qin Haitian was unwilling to spar with him, it meant that his injuries were still very serious. Wouldn't he be able to take this opportunity to avenge his father? Let's talk about teaching you martial arts first. Have you had lunch? I asked the chef to cook. Let's eat together, Qin Haitian said calmly, unwilling to guide. It seems that the problem is very serious. The head of the Demon Moon sect is right. Qin Haitian must be seriously injured. But at this moment, a voice sounded in the room. Lao Qin, didn't you say you wanted to eat? Why haven't you come yet? I'll be there soon, Qin Haitian said with a smile, then said to Qin Mofei, let's go. We can talk about it after dinner. Huh, Qin Mofei was stunned when he heard the voice. There was someone in the room, and the voice sounded so familiar. The next moment, he followed Qin Haitian into the hall of the palace. What came into view was a woman with a stunning appearance. She was wearing a deep blue spiral needle group stitched brocade gauze embroidered skirt with a birthday pattern. The slightly swaying lower garment turned out to be a black apricot twist stitched skirt embroidered with flowers. She was wearing a light purple and white warm cloth shawl embroidered with a chicken's crowing pattern, which was tied into a snake bun. On her ears were woven silk emerald rings, and her hair was adorned with jeweled butterfly gold hairpins. Her fair hands were wearing kingfisher tanzanite nail clips, and around her waist she wore a black sapphire orchid ruby tassel belt, from which hung a silver silk lotus purse, and a pair of sheepskin boots embroidered with magnolia flowers. She was sitting at the dining table, and she looked as if she had just taken a bath, and her whole body gave people a feeling of laziness. Looks a little different than before, seems a little more mature. Junior sister Lu, why are you here? Chin Mofei blurted out as he looked at Lu Ruoxian, who was sitting at the dining table. Hearing this, Lu Ruoxian blushed, glanced at Qin Haitian, and then said embarrassedly, "Didn't your father tell you?" "What?" Chin Mofei was stunned, then he thought of something and looked at his father with surprise on his face. "Father, you, Ruoxian, am I what I thought?" Lu Ruoxian is here, and she looks shy. Could it be that Qin Haitian, the enemy who murdered his father, wants to marry Lu Ruoxian to himself? If that's the case, should I still kill him? How can I give up the revenge for my father's murder just because of a woman? If my biological parents knew about this, how angry they would be. But I really like Lu Ruoxian. Otherwise, I wouldn't have kept pestering her. She is so cute and pretty. Although she is less immature now than before, she is more charming. Since Qin Haitian is still nice to me, then I will make Qin Haitian's death less painful. Well, that's it, you're right. Qin Haitian's first words almost made Qin Mofei cry with joy, but the next sentence made Qin Mofei fall from the clouds to hell. Ruoxian is my woman, you must call her mother when you see her in the future. Seeing Qin Haitian hugging Lu Ruoxian said coquettishly, "Senior brother Qin is older than me, it's not appropriate to call me mother, right?" "What's inappropriate? You are my woman, your status is there. He has to call you that even if he doesn't want to." Qin Haitian kissed Lu Ruoxian on the face and said firmly, "Oh, there are people here." Lu Ruoxian said shyly, but she was still embarrassed because there were outsiders around. However, seeing Qin Haitian say that she was his woman in front of Qin Mofei, she still felt that Qin Haitian was not just playing with her. Qin Haitian originally thought about whether he should forge an identity, but after thinking about it, he decided to give up. If he hides it from one or two women and creates a loving persona for them, they will definitely not be able to accept it if there are more women later. Instead of doing this, it is better to open his heart now and let people know that I, Qin Haitian, am not a loyal person. So, whatever has to be done, after all, if you want to become bigger and stronger and create brilliance, you can't just rely on one or two women. Watching the two of them displaying affection without paying any attention to who was around, Qin Mofei's eyes widened in disbelief. The woman I like actually became Qin Haitian's woman. Is there anything more ridiculous in this world? Qin Haitian, you. Qin Mofei looked at Qin Haitian with a red face. First there was the hatred of having the whole family wiped out, and now there is the hatred of having your wife stolen. If the woman you love is taken away from you, wouldn't that be the hatred of having your wife stolen from you? You're calling me your father by my name. Are you trying to rebel? Qin Haitian looked at Qin Mofei and shouted. A flash of powerful force passed by. I'm sorry, father. I lost my composure. Qin Mofei's heart tightened and he even suppressed the anger in his eyes and said in fear and trepidation. Qin Haitian's shout just now startled Qin Mofei. This was due to the long-standing majesty of a father in front of his son. Although Qin Mofei had the idea of killing Qin Haitian, he naturally did not dare to reveal any flaws before he could figure out Qin Haitian's background. HMPH, go back and reflect on it. Qin Haitian snorted coldly. Yes. Qin Mofei responded aggrievedly, and then left with hatred. Qin Haitian naturally knew that Qin Mofei wanted to kill him now, but with his current strength, unless he used the 3 seconds of real manliness, he might not be able to kill him. It is really foolish to use his only life-saving trump card for such a wicked son. Moreover, he didn't want to leave a bad impression on Lu Ruoxian. After all, an adopted son is still a son, and killing him directly would seem too cruel. Qin Haitian looked at the timid Lu Ruoxian, touched her head, and said softly, "Did I scare you just now?" "A little bit." Lu Ruoxian stuck out her tongue playfully. "Okay, let's not talk about this evil boy anymore, let's eat." Qin Haitian smiled and picked up Lu Ruoxian and sat her on his lap. "Oh, how can I eat like this?" Lu Ruoxian said with a blushing face. Although she and Qin Haitian had tried countless positions, she was still easily shy. "I'll feed you." Qin Haitian looked at Lu Ruoxian with a smile. I have to say that the body of the beautiful girl who had just taken a bath smelled really good. You know, she didn't apply anything. It was entirely because of her extraordinary physique and the fact that she was a practitioner. After dinner, Qin Haitian checked Lu Ruoxian's homework and both of them were very satisfied. Chapter 17 Lottery. Qin Haitian and Lu Ruoxian reviewed the fire of poetry, then came to the lounge chair in the courtyard, and then leisurely opened the Villain Beauty System. Open black lens bracket. Villain Beauty System close black lens bracket. Host, Qin Haitian. Cultivation, Foundation Establishment Stage 1 Experience. 835 1,000ths Beauty. 2 Luck Value. 45,000 points. Kung Fu. 100 Flowers Magic Skill. Level 4 125 400ths Martial Arts. 100 Flowers Sword Technique 6.1% Warehouse. 3-star Favorability Card 1, 3-second True Man Pill 1, etc. Qin Haitian looked at the system interface, touched his chin and muttered secretly, my current cultivation is still a little too low, and I have too few trump cards. I only have 3 seconds of real man pills. After using them up, I'm helpless. Let's try the lottery, see if I can get more trump cards. Then, the mind clicked on the prize pool interface. 4 major prize pools come into view, namely the primary prize pool, the intermediate prize pool, the advanced prize pool, and the top prize pool. Each level of the prize pool can be drawn either individually or 10 times in a row. Let's try the primary prize pool first. Qin Tian said secretly. A single draw from the primary prize pool gives 100 points of luck, and 10 consecutive draws will definitely give out a 3-star treasure. Then, Qin Haitian opened the primary prize pool interface and clicked the 10 draw button. A prompt sounded, are you sure you want to spend 1,000 luck points to draw 10 times from the primary prize pool? Qin Haitian replied, yes. Wow, then 10 kinds of rewards appeared. Qin Haitian took a look and found 3 1-star treasures, 5 2-star treasures, and 2 3-star treasures. The 3 1-star treasures are Foundation Establishment Pills 3, the 5 2-star treasures are True Spirit Pills 3, Yellow Level Secret Technique Thunderbolt Art 1, and Low Grade Spiritual Weapon 1, and the 2 3-star treasures are the Mystical Level Sword Technique, Jade Girl Pure Heart Sword Technique, and Mystical Spirit Pill. The True Spirit Pill can allow cultivators in the Foundation Establishment stage to improve their cultivation by 1 to 4 levels without any side effects. It can only be used once, and the second use will have no effect. Qin Haitian took a look at the introduction of the True Spirit Pill and muttered to himself, I can use one myself, right? And give one to Shauner. I wonder if Shauner's use of the True Spirit Pill will bring me some experience feedback. I'll know after I try it. The Violent Thunder Art, once used by a Foundation Establishment cultivator, the power attack will double within half an hour, but the sequelae are that after using it, the various functions of the body will be reduced by half within a day. The effect is greatly reduced for a Tongshuan cultivator. Of course, the sequelae are similar. For a Xinghai cultivator, the effect of the Violent Thunder Art is almost negligible. The Jade Girl Pure Heart Sword Technique can be given to Ruoxian. At her current level, practicing the 100 Flowers Sword Technique is still too strenuous for her. As for the Xuanling Pill, its effect is similar to the Junling Pill, but it is targeted at cultivators in the Tongshuan realm. Overall, these treasures are good, but that's just how they are. Qin Haitian muttered. None of them caught his eye, but that was normal. According to the system's evaluation, pills like the 3 seconds to be a true man pill are 5-star treasures. Once taken, one can possess invincible strength at the Daotai realm. Of course, you can only be strong for 3 seconds. 3 seconds later, everything returned to normal. Looking at the luck value that had shrunk by 1,000, Qin Haitian's eyes flickered slightly. Although the treasures in the primary prize pool are useful to me, they don't have any trump cards to save my life. Pills like Junling Pill and Xuanling Pill are both extremely valuable and can allow cultivators in the Foundation Establishment realm and Profound Passage realm to advance 1 to 4 levels respectively. Without any side effects, however, these pills cannot help him defeat or kill powerful enemies when he encounters them. What Qin Tian wanted was a life-saving trump card like the 3 seconds to become a real man pill. Qin Tian had been saving it up before because he wanted to draw the 7-star treasure, but now he has a sense of crisis. Considering that after plundering Qin Mofei and Yang Shan's luck points, the total will be as high as 150,000, so it doesn't matter if he consumes some of it. Next, Qin Tian conducted a 10-draw series from the intermediate prize pool, with the rewards being 5 3-star treasures, 3 4-star treasures, and 2 5-star treasures. 3-star treasure, Xuanling Pill 5 4-star treasures, Xingling Pills 2, Yanyu Sword Technique 1 5-star treasures, Daoling Pill 1, Xiaotianyong 1. Qin Tian looked at the treasures he had drawn out and was speechless for a long time. Among these treasures, only the Shaoshan sound power was useful. This was a secret method of sound wave attack. When practiced to a certain level, it could kill people with sound waves, but this is not the most urgently needed treasure for Qin Haishan. Continue. Qin Haishan took a deep breath and continued the lottery. This time, there were 2 consecutive draws from the intermediate prize pool, and a total of 20 kinds of treasures were drawn, but most of them were elixir treasures, such as Xuanling Pills, Xingling Pills, and Daoling Pills. In addition, Qin Haishan got the 3 seconds real man pill that he had always dreamed of. Although this thing is disposable, the probability of getting it seems very low. In addition to an extra 3 seconds of real manhood pill, he also drew a 5-star level body movement technique. The name of this body movement technique is Treading on Snow Without Trace, which is a heavenly level body movement secret book. The skill of walking on snow without leaving any trace can be taught to Lu Ruoxian and Shui Hongluan. Qin Haishan whispered to himself. Qin Haishan took a look at the treasures in his warehouse, focusing on the 5-star treasures, 2 life-saving pills, a heavenly level body skill, 3 Daoling pills, and a top-grade spiritual sword. The weapon used by his predecessor was just a high-grade spiritual sword. Top-grade spiritual weapons are extremely rare. Generally speaking, only cultivators at the Daotai realm can unleash their full power, and most cultivators at the Daotai realm do not have top-grade spiritual weapons. This top-grade spiritual weapon cannot be used for the time being, otherwise it will easily attract the covetousness of Daotai realm cultivators. Qin Haishan whispered to himself. Old Qin, what are you thinking about? At this moment, Lu Ruoxian, who had taken a bath twice a day, walked out of the house with a radiant look. After Qin Haishan's repeated care, Lu Ruoxian's temperament seemed more mature, and her figure also became more graceful. I was thinking about what good things I could give you since you practice so hard. Qin Haishan closed the system interface and said with a smile. You've given me a lot of good things. You don't have to give me more. Lu Ruoxian said coquettishly. Are you sure you don't want it? Qin Haishan looked at Lu Ruoxian with a smile. Don't regret it. I won't regret it, Lu Ruoxian said in a soft voice. Qin Haishan looked at Lu Ruoxian with a smile, and a pill appeared in his hand. He said with a playful look. This is a real spirit pill, which can help cultivators in the foundation building stage to improve from 1 to 4 levels without any side effects. Are you sure you don't want it? The legendary lost elixir, Lu Ruoxian exclaimed in surprise. Yes, Qin Haishan laughed. Since you don't want it, I'll just give it away. You dare, Lu Ruoxian said anxiously, and while speaking, she directly snatched the true spirit pill from Qin Haishan's hand. Chapter 18 First meeting with Leng Qingshuang. Looking at the excited Lu Ruoxian, Qin Haishan also smiled. Didn't you say no? How could I not want such a good thing? Lu Ruoxian snorted, glared at Qin Haishan, and held the Xuanling pill tightly. Okay, go and absorb and refine it, Qin Haishan said with a smile. Okay, then I'll go. Lu Ruoxian kissed Qin Haishan on the face, and then went to the practice room with great interest. For a cultivator in the foundation establishment stage, it may take 3 to 5 years for him to advance 1 level. Even if she has a good talent, it will take several months for her to break through. How could she not want a pill like this that could improve 1 to 4 levels of cultivation without any side effects? When Lu Ruoxian went to the training room to swallow the true spirit pill to practice, Qin Haishan also took out a true spirit pill. If you want to break through from the 8th level to the 9th level of the foundation establishment realm, you need 9,000 experience points. If you break through from the 1st level to the 2nd level of the foundation establishment realm, you only need 1,000 experience points. Qin Haishan muttered, no wonder it says that you can upgrade 1 to 4 levels. When the realm is low, you can upgrade multiple levels. When the realm is high, the upgrade level is less, but the experience points for upgrading are actually about 9,000 or 10,000. Then, Qin Haishan swallowed a true spirit pill. Qin Haishan discovered that his experience value had increased by 10,000. Cultivation. Foundation Establishment Stage 1 Experience 10,835 1,000ths. Qin Haishan then felt the joy of upgrading the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th levels of the foundation building realm. Finally, it settled at the 5th level of the foundation establishment realm. Cultivation. 5th level of Foundation Establishment, Experience 835 5000. Qin Haitian's realm was upgraded. He took a look at Lu Ruoxian's cultivation level, which was also at the 5th level of the Foundation Establishment realm. However, the other party had just made a breakthrough to the Void Refining realm and did not give him any experience feedback. This also made Qin Tian understand one thing. Improving his cultivation through shortcuts such as elixirs could not give him any feedback in terms of experience, which made Qin Haitian somewhat regretful. Lu Ruoxian's cultivation level increased greatly, which made her so excited that she took the initiative to pull Qin Haitian into the house to discuss new postures. "Why are you so nice to me?" Afterwards, Lu Ruoxian lay in Qin Haitian's arms, looking at Qin Haitian with tenderness on her face. Her eyes were full of Qin Haitian's figure. It can be seen from her favorability that Qin Haitian's importance in her mind has now reached 95 points, which is only 5 points away from the 100 points of unswerving determination. "Because you are my precious woman." Qin Haitian kissed Lu Ruoxian on her red lips and said softly. Qin Haitian also discovered that Lu Ruoxian was a love-brained person. For a girl like this, just saying nice and corny sweet words would be enough. Although Lu Ruoxian is shy every time, it can be seen from the continuous improvement of her favorability that she is still very fond of this. "Will you have other women in the future?" Lu Ruoxian looked at Qin Haitian with some concern and asked. "Yes," Qin Haitian said frankly. He answered this way because he actually wanted to see Lu Ruoxian's reaction. He didn't go to see Shui Hongluan these days because he was worried that if Shui Hongluan and Lu Ruoxian met, both of them would not be able to accept this fact. "Ah, you." Lu Ruoxian looked at Qin Haitian with tears in her eyes. "Will you abandon me?" Seeing that Lu Ruoxian's favorability did not drop, Qin Haitian felt relieved. It was obvious that after the favorability reached 90 points, it would not be so easy to drop. As long as the favorability doesn't decrease, then it's fine. Once you get used to other women, then it will be okay to slowly increase your size. It is very common in this world for a strong man to have multiple women. This is why although Lu Ruoxian was a little sad, her first reaction was to wonder if Qin Haitian was going to abandon her. "You are my first woman, how could I abandon you?" Qin Haitian said gently. "Your son is older than me, and you still say that I am your first woman. I don't believe it. Bad men will lie to me." Lu Ruoxian said angrily. "Those sons are not my biological children, but adopted by me." Qin Haitian sighed and explained. "Adopted?" Lu Ruoxian blinked. "Yes." Qin Haitian sighed and explained. "My 2 sons were adopted by families that had been broken up when they were out there. Have you heard that I have a wife?" When Lu Ruoxian heard this, she looked at Qin Haitian with gentle eyes. "Old Qin, you are so nice." Nice guy card. Obviously not. Lu Ruoxian was moved by Qin Haitian's words and thought that Qin Haitian was a man worthy of trust. A few days later, while Lu Ruoxian was in seclusion, Qin Haitian left the main peak of Baijian sect and went to Hongluan Peak to find Shui Hongluan. "Greetings, Master." Lang Qingshuang saw Qin Haitian coming to Hongluan Peak. As Shui Hongluan's direct disciple, Lang Qingshuang lived in Hongluan Peak. When Qin Haitian arrived, Lang Qingshuang was practicing sword. When she saw Qin Haitian appear outside the formation, she immediately opened the formation to let Qin Haitian in. "Yeah." Qin Haitian nodded slightly and looked at Lang Qingshuang. She was wearing a dark floral black shirt on her upper body, a dark pink-covered silk skirt on her lower body, a dark green and brown gauze cloak on her body, her hair was tied up in a bun, and she had a coral bat hairpin in her delicate hair, kingfisher earrings on her ears, a black rui tassel silk ribbon tied around her slender waist, and a purse with a crabapple gold thread pattern hung on it, and she wore magnolia petal hibiscus satin shoes on her feet. She was so beautiful. At the same time, the detector was activated, and information about Lang Qingshuang appeared in his eyes. Name: Lang Qingshuang. Age: 23. Cultivation: peak of the first level of Tongshuan realm. Open black lens bracket. Appearance: 96. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Talent index: 5,930 points. Close black lens bracket. Favorability: 26. I am in awe of you. Lang Qingshuang's favorability towards her is 26 points, which is normal. After all, she has been in the Baijian sect for several years and has had little contact with her predecessor. Chapter 19. Goddess Lang Qingshuang. Qin Haitian glanced at Lang Qingshuang, and to be honest, it was a bit rude, which made Lang Qingshuang feel very uncomfortable, as if she was seen through, and her favorability rating dropped by 3 points. Seeing that there was still 23 points of favorability, Qin Haitian muttered to himself that if he wanted to bind successfully, he would need to perform the operation many times. Moreover, while she was doing the operation, she also had to consider the relationship between her and Shui Hongluan. After all, they were master and disciple, and one improper operation could easily lead to failure. You need to be careful when operating. Where is your master? Qin Haitian was not in a hurry to show off his skills in lowering the favorability so as to bind Leng Qingshuang. He would have a chance to do that later. Now it is better to raise Shui Hongluan's favorability to more than 90 points first. In that way, if an accident occurs, Leng Qingshuang's favorability will not drop drastically. This has been verified before with Lu Ruoxian. 90 points of favorability is a critical value. My master is practicing in seclusion in the training room. Leng Qingshuang said honestly. Take me over to have a look. Qin Haitian nodded. Okay, master. Leng Qingshuang said respectfully and led the way. Although her master had told her not to disturb her easily when she was practicing, she naturally could not refuse the master when he came to her. Bang. Suddenly, Leng Qingshuang, who was walking side by side with Qin Haitian and leading the way half a step ahead, froze in surprise because Qin Haitian slapped her in the face from behind. Master Headmaster, you. Leng Qingshuang's face was filled with shame and anger. She looked at Qin Haitian in shock. She couldn't believe that the headmaster who had such a great image in her mind was actually a lecher. I just saw a leaf on your pants. I have obsessive-compulsive disorder, so I brushed it off for you. It's just a small favor, no need to thank me. Qin Haitian said coldly without looking away. Leng Qingshuang, just a piece of cake. You're welcome. Leng Qingshuang's eyes almost popped out when she heard that. Likeability +3. Thank you. Leng Qingshuang pursed her lips and thanked in a cold voice. Qin Haitian was a little confused on the spot. No, you actually believed my explanation. If you didn't believe it, why did your favorability increase instead of decreasing? Could it be that this is a goddess with a unique personality? Otherwise, this phenomenon cannot be explained at all. If it is a contrasting sister, then how can we lower the favorability? Wait, if that's the case, why did my rude look just now reduce her favorability towards me? Qin Haitian fell into deep doubt. But soon, Qin Haitian thought of a possibility, that is, the contrast between the sister's physical characteristics and her physical characteristics may just be a physical instinct contrast, or she herself does not know her own contrasting physique. Leng Qingshuang was stared at by Qin Haitian as if he wanted to eat her. For some reason, her heartbeat quickened. Compared with the first time they met, this gaze did not make her feel uncomfortable as before. Could it be because of the contact? Likeability +1. Qin Haitian was like, fuck you. In his heart. I was thinking of using the same old trick to lower the favorability, but now it's all gone, the favorability has increased again. Looking at Leng Qingshuang, whose favorability point was 26 at the beginning and became 27 after his operation, Qin Haitian felt like crying but had no tears. At this time, Qin Haitian also understood that this operation seemed to have some problems, but he couldn't think of any good ideas for the time being, because Leng Qingshuang looked cold and arrogant, but her essence was the opposite. Moreover, she herself might not know her own personality, because everyone who met her before was polite, and there was no chance for her to understand her true nature. For such a woman, ordinary means could not reduce her favorability. He was confident that he could think of a way to quickly lower Leng Qingshuang's favorability, but this would require some time to think so that he could take targeted measures and take action. Soon, Qin Haitian resumed his image as aloof clan leader. What are you thinking about? Lead the way. Qin Haitian glanced at Leng Qingshuang indifferently and said. Looking at Qin Haitian who had regained his aloofness, Leng Qingshuang didn't know why she didn't feel as afraid as before. However, Qin Haitian's majesty as the longtime leader of the sect was deeply rooted in people's hearts, which made her restrain her wandering thoughts. Okay, Leng Qingshuang responded repeatedly. After that, Qin Haitian didn't speak to Leng Qingshuang anymore, nor did he look at her again. This made Leng Qingshuang feel a little disappointed for some reason, and her favorability towards Qin Haitian also decreased a little. Although Qin Haitian was not looking at Leng Qingshuang, he noticed the system's reminder, and Leng Qingshuang's favorability dropped a little. Suddenly, Qin Haitian vaguely thought of how to lower Leng Qingshuang's favorability. Leng Qingshuang should be naturally wary of men, but once there is a certain degree of contact, if the man is not strong, he will naturally not be able to win her favor. But if the other party is strong enough, then she will have some admiration for this man. For example, my status and strength. are far superior to hers, and my image is also very good, so it is normal for her to be in awe of me, and my accidental hit has brought us closer. But if I ignore her, she will feel lost. However, Qin Haitian also understood that the simple contact before would not last long, unless she fell in love with him. At that time, if he ignored her, his favorability would drop a lot. But there was also a problem, that is, if he made her fall in love with him, his favorability would rise a lot. This is a bit troublesome. Getting a beautiful woman is not his goal. The most important thing for him is to become strong enough to protect himself and the people he wants to protect, and to live freely and comfortably in this world. By the way, what is your secret communication pattern? I have it engraved on my voice stone. Qin Haitian asked. Hearing Qin Haitian's words, Lang Qingshuang was stunned, and then told Qin Haitian his secret communication pattern. The secret communication pattern is similar to Blue Star's telephone number. Through the formation in the sound transmission stone, the secret communication pattern is transmitted to the target of the sound transmission, which is similar to the purpose of dialing the other party's phone. Lang Qingshuang originally thought that Qin Haitian would tell her his secret communication pattern, but he didn't. This made Lang Qingshuang feel a little disappointed, and her favorability towards him dropped a little again. He didn't understand why Qin Haitian wanted his secret communication pattern but didn't tell him the secret communication pattern. Chapter 20, Practicing with Junior Sister Hongluan. Shui Hongluan was practicing martial arts, but she had just switched to the 100 Flowers Divine Art, so she was able to hear Lang Qingshuang calling her outside the training room. When Shui Hongluan heard that Qin Haitian was coming to see her, she immediately finished her work. When she went out, she saw Qin Haitian, who was dressed neatly and looked even younger than before. Of course, he didn't look old before, but he looked a little younger now. However, she didn't know that the Qin Haitian she had seen before was just a eunuch, and the current Qin Haitian was in good health. The pill not only restored Qin Haitian to be a man, but also had a lasting effect on improving his body's functions. Why are you here? Shui Hongluan looked at Qin Haitian with an excited expression on her face. I missed you. Can't I come to see you? Qin Haitian said with a smile, a hint of teasing in his eyes. Hearing Qin Haitian's words, Shui Hongluan's face turned red, and she glanced at her apprentice Lang Qingshuang who didn't show any expression. You go practice sword. Okay, master. Lang Qingshuang responded with a slight twitch of his lips. In Qin Haitian's heart, Lang Qingshuang is a goddess of contrast, but in Lang Qingshuang's heart, isn't Qin Haitian also a man of contrast? Before, she had never imagined that Qin Haitian would speak in such a greasy way. Likeability rating, -2. When Qin Haitian heard the system's reminder, he looked at Lang Qingshuang with a strange expression. No wonder she is called the Cold Fairy by the sect's disciples. Of course, the drop in favorability may also be because these slightly corny words were not directed at her, so she felt disgusted, but this also gave Qin Haitian an idea to lower Lang Qingshuang's favorability. Lang Qingshuang had just left not far when she looked back and felt it was a bit irritating, because her aloof master actually threw himself into the arms of the sect master like a flying swallow, and then, he was really not reserved at all. Likeability rating -1. Likeability rating -1. At this time, Qin Haitian had no time to think about reducing Lang Qingshuang's favorability. With the beauty in his arms, the fragrance filled his nose, and Qin Haitian kissed her directly. This study takes 2 or 3 days. Seeing that Shui Hongluan's favorability had reached over 90 points, Qin Haitian felt relieved. In this way, even if Shui Hongluan discovered his relationship with Lu Ruoxian in the near future, she would not break up with him in tears. Of course, he hadn't told her about his situation with Lu Ruoxian for the time being. By the way, junior sister, I have 2 things for you. Qin Haitian said. What is it? Shui Hongluan asked curiously. One is a heavenly level body movement secret manual, and the other is a star spirit pill. Qin Haitian said. Heaven level body movement secrets. Shui Hongluan took a breath of cold air when she heard it, and looked at Qin Haitian with eyes that were almost drawn, and looked at Qin Haitian with deep affection. Why are you so nice to me? You know, even the Daotai realm cultivators will fight madly for the heavenly level secret manuals. Not to mention the cultivators in the Star Sea realm, a heavenly level secret book is enough to turn some close people into enemies. She was already shocked when Qin Haitian gave her the heavenly level martial arts and swordsmanship before, but she didn't expect that this time he would also give her the body skills to save her life. I will treat you better in the future. Qin Haitian scratched Shui Hongluan's nose and smiled gently. Shui Hongluan was so moved that she offered him a kiss. Then she thought of something. You mentioned the Xingling pill. Could it be the legendary magical medicine that can allow Xinghai realm cultivators to advance from 1 to 4 levels without any side effects? Yes, but junior sister, you are now at the 7th level of the Star Sea realm, so perhaps I can only allow you to break through to the 8th level of the Star Sea realm. Qin Haitian nodded. That's already very good. With the 100 swords skill that you gave me, I was thinking that it would be good enough if I could break through to the 8th level of the Star Sea realm within a year or two. Now it's 1 or 2 years earlier. Shui Hongluan said with a look of joy on her face. Okay, junior sister, it's time for me to leave. You can refine the Star Spirit pill. Qin Haitian said with a smile. Don't leave in such a hurry. Kindness. Brother, didn't you want to unlock new postures before? I agreed. Shui Hongluan said shyly. Qin Haitian was stunned at first, then overjoyed. Although Shui Hongluan loved him very much, she was still very shy in bed and was unwilling to learn many new positions. Now it seems that she is happy. Sure enough, her previous idea was correct. Good things have to be taken out bit by bit. After a while, I will give her the heavenly secret book of sonic power. While Shui Hongluan was moved, Qin Haitian took the opportunity to teach her new knowledge. After all, learning knowledge is a gradual process, and now it's pretty good. He gave the thing to Shui Hongluan and didn't ask her to give it to him. He took a bath in Shui Hongluan's bathhouse and then left Shui Hongluan's palace. In the square in front of Shui Hongluan's palace, Qin Haitian saw Lang Qingshuang practicing sword. Her expression was as cold as a snow lotus on an iceberg, and her face showed an expression that said, "Keep away from strangers." The detector was activated, and Lang Qingshuang's current favorability was in full view. Likeability. 8 points. The favorability has dropped to only this much. Qin Haitian was extremely surprised. It seems that the long conversations with Shui Hongluan these days have had a great impact on Lang Qingshuang. I just don't know if Lang Qingshuang is being cold because of her master's lack of reserve, or because of the collapse of my image in her heart. Qin Haitian muttered secretly in his heart, but his eyes were scanning Lang Qingshuang. This Lang Qingshuang was much colder than Shui Hongluan. Of course, Shui Hongluan was cold towards other people, but towards herself, she was passionate. And this Lang Qingshuang, if she was conquered by himself, might be the same. Chapter 21 Lecture. Although Lang Qingshuang was practicing sword, she had already noticed Qin Haitian's arrival. However, she was not prepared to stop and greet Qin Haitian. In her mind, the headmaster who should be majestic and dignified turned out to be a slick and lecherous person. I actually feared such a man before. I really don't know what I was blind for. Obviously, although Qin Haitian's slap was effective at the time, because Qin Haitian did not strike while the iron was hot, when Lang Qingshuang calmed down, she was only angry and humiliated, and it is conceivable that her favorability towards Qin Haitian decreased. She originally thought that if she didn't say hello, Qin Haitian would just look at her for a while and then leave, but she found that not only did Qin Haitian not leave, but he looked at her arrogantly with a fiery look, as if he wanted to eat her up. This made Lang Qingshuang a little angry. In her upset state, she naturally couldn't continue practicing the sword. Master, are you leaving? Lang Qingshuang stopped practicing sword and spoke coldly as if she had just discovered Qin Haitian. The expression on his face was calm. Don't be in a hurry to leave. Aren't you practicing sword? Keep practicing. Let me watch for a while. Qin Haitian smiled and said lightly. Lang Qingshuang, she wanted to say to Qin Haitian, don't you know why I don't continue practicing? Don't you have any self-awareness? Well, I'm tired from practicing and want to take a break. If you don't have anything else, master, I'll leave you. Lang Qingshuang took a deep breath, suppressed the irritability in his heart, and spoke coldly. The favorability level dropped again, and Qin Haitian was secretly happy. If he didn't strike while the iron is hot now, when would he strike? Something happened. Qin Haitian nodded jokingly. Lang Qingshuang. Master, please speak. Lang Qingshuang pursed her lips and asked. I am in need of a maid to warm my bed. I see that you are quite pretty, so why not? Qin Haitian looked at Lang Qingshuang with amusement. Bah, you scoundrel. Lang Qingshuang's expression changed, and she interrupted Qin Haitian and cursed, just give up on this idea. She cursed subconsciously before she realized it was inappropriate, but it was too late to take back what she had said now. Besides, she didn't want to take it back. The worst that could happen was that she would die. She looked at Qin Haitian stubbornly with red eyes. Qin Haitian looked at Lang Qingshuang with a grim expression and said, are you really unwilling? Even if you kill me, I won't agree. Lang Qingshuang said, firmly. Qin Haitian had a strange look on his face. This Lang Qingshuang was really a goddess of contrasts. Because of what he said, her favorability rating not only did not drop, but instead rose by more than 20 points, which was a little higher than the highest point before. Perhaps, she herself did not realize that the system's detector could detect the true thoughts deep in the heart of the detected object. Originally, Qin Haitian wanted to use this kind of coercion to reduce Lang Qingshuang's favorability to 0 or even below, but in this way, he ended up making things worse. But who is Qin Haitian? I had a lot of thoughts in my mind, and instantly thought of a way that might be more suitable. So, Qin Haitian sneered with a deep meaning on his face. If I remember correctly, you seem to be the daughter of the Prime Minister of Zhao State. How many brothers and sisters do you have? Is your father kind and your daughter filial? As soon as these words came out, Lang Qingshuang's face suddenly changed, and she trembled all over. She looked at Qin Haitian with horror. Master, no, I promise you. Don't hurt them. Wow. Lang Qingshuang's favorability suddenly dropped to 0. Oh no, it directly became negative, and the favorability was still dropping. Although she is a goddess of contrast, she is truly a filial daughter, and her parents and family members are all very good to her. Now Qin Haitian's words seemed to be threatening her with the lives of her family members. How could she disobey? I have found the goddess Lang Qingshuang who is suitable for binding. Would you like to bind her? That's enough nonsense, bind. Seeing Lang Qingshuang's favorability drop drastically, Qin Haitian cursed the system inwardly. He said such shameless words, and why? Don't you understand, you damn system? Looking at Lang Qingshuang, who was pale and had tears of grief in her eyes, Qin Haitian was surprised. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by hurting them? I just want to know if your family is okay. Huh, looking at Qin Haitian's surprised expression, Lang Qingshuang blinked. Did she misunderstand just now? I'm sorry, headmaster, I misunderstood just now. Lang Qingshuang thought that she had misunderstood and said apologetically. Although the headmaster was a pervert, think about it, if he wanted to have a bed-warming maid, there would probably be a bunch of female disciples who wanted to get promoted in the sect who would be willing to do so. After all, although the headmaster was over 50 years old, in the world of cultivation, this age was still very young, and he was still so handsome. The favorability level suddenly increased, and the binding has been successful. The next step is to find ways to increase the favorability level. If you want to improve Lang Qingshuang's favorability, you naturally have to start with her personality. She is a goddess of contrasts. Of course, you can't use the usual methods to improve her favorability. Did you misunderstand me? Qin Haitian looked at Lang Qingshuang jokingly and said, you took me for that kind of person and misunderstood my character. An apology alone is not sincere enough. Then, Master Head Teacher, how should I apologize? Lang Qingshuang looked at Qin Haitian's aggressive gaze and lowered her head nervously. She didn't know why, but at the same time, she felt a strange sense of anticipation. Come with me, Qin Haitian said as he walked straight towards the recliner not far away. This recliner is of the same style as the one on the main peak. According to the memory of the previous incarnation, the recliner on the main peak was also given by Shui Hongluan. Then Qin Haitian lay down on the recliner and said to Lang Qingshuang, go wash some fruit. Ah, Lang Qingshuang looked at Qin Haitian in confusion. What? Why aren't you going yet? Qin Haitian ordered. Oh, I'll go right away. Lang Qingshuang responded weakly, and quickly washed the fruit and brought it to Qin Haitian. Bang! Qin Haitian slapped Lang Qingshuang. Ah! Lang Qingshuang looked at Qin Haitian, the bad master uncle, with a face full of grievance after being beaten. She didn't know why Qin Haitian wanted to hit her. She felt a little aggrieved, a little ashamed, and an indescribable feeling. Seeing that Lang Qingshuang's favorability had climbed to 36 points, although Qin Haitian understood Lang Qingshuang's character a little, he still felt that this was a bit absurd. Am I too bad? Chapter 22. Master, don't do this. Why did you hit me again? Lang Qingshuang looked at Qin Haitian aggrievedly and said, don't you know how to feed me? Qin Haitian looked at Lang Qingshuang coldly and said, looking at Lang Qingshuang feeding him crystal grapes pitifully, there was no trace of her previous cold and aloof personality. Qin Haitian felt like a banished immortal who had come down to earth. No wonder many people say that their own goddess may be someone else's bootlicker. This is not necessarily an exaggeration. The most important thing is that Lang Qingshuang seems to like this feeling of excitement, because her favorability shows no sign of decreasing. On the contrary, It is steadily increasing. Feed it with your mouth. Qin Haitian looked at the beautiful lips, swallowed his saliva, felt very excited, and then said, "No." Lang Qingshuang looked at Qin Haitian in astonishment when she heard it, shaking her head like a rattle. "You are the leader of a religion, how can you be so ridiculous?" Qin Haitian didn't say anything, but just looked at Lang Qingshuang coldly. The silent pressure was very great. Lang Qingshuang opened her mouth, but for some reason, she didn't feel much rejection. In the end, she compromised, holding a grape with her beautiful lips, and leaned towards Qin Haitian. Her eyelashes fluttered, showing her nervousness at the moment. Qin Haitian tasted the grape and found it very sweet, as if it were smeared with fragrant saliva. She wanted to retreat, but she was powerless. Qin Haitian hooked her with both hands and she fell directly into Qin Haitian's arms. Those broad arms were powerful and domineering, and he felt as if he had turned into a sheep falling into the mouth of a vicious tiger. Ding dong tilde 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 tilde. Congratulations to the host for successfully changing Lang Qingshuang's fate of becoming Yongshan's woman, and taking away 50,000 points of Yongshan's luck. Yongshan's remaining luck, 20,000 points. Qin Haitian was originally immersed in the wonderful touch brought by Lang Qingshuang, and when he heard this voice, he almost jumped up. You know, in the previous historical process, Shui Hongluan, as Yongshan's master, might become his woman in the future, so she provided Qin Haitian with 20,000 luck points. But Lang Qingshuang became his woman and actually provided him with 50,000 luck points. Then, Qin Haitian asked the system, because Lang Qingshuang has an inner charm and a top-level furnace cauldron physique, and is someone who possesses a good dual cultivation technique, dual cultivation with her will greatly benefit both parties by achieving twice the result with half the effort. The system responded. At this moment, Qin Haitian suddenly understood. No wonder, maybe Yongshan possessed the dual cultivation technique. Shui Hongluan seems to be much stronger than Lang Qingshuang, but she does not have the physique of a furnace after all. If the difference in strength is large, the effect of dual cultivation will exist, but it will not be that great. What's wrong? Lang Qingshuang looked at Qin Haitian with a blushing face. She was originally in the clouds, but Qin Haitian suddenly stopped, which made her feel like falling from the clouds to the mortal world, and she felt a little lost. Seeing Lang Qingshuang's rosy cheeks and dazed eyes, Qin Haitian couldn't help but kiss her again. Lang Qingshuang completely lost herself under Qin Haitian's superb kissing skills. It was not until Qin Haitian's hands became dishonest that she realized what had just happened. She pushed Qin Haitian away and turned over. You've gone too far. Lang Qingshuang was tidying up her messy clothes that were messed up by Qin Haitian, while looking at Qin Haitian with shame and anger. She wanted to lose her temper, but she didn't know what she was angry about for a moment. Was he angry at Qin Haitian for pushing his luck too far, or was he angry at himself for not loving himself enough? Come here. Qin Haitian looked at Lang Qingshuang, who had a cold and angry face, and spoke with interest. I won't go over. Lang Qingshuang snorted. Not only did she not go over, she also took a step back. If you bully me again, I will call you master. Let her know that you bully me. Qin Haitian was a little amused, and then said, you really don't want to come? If you don't come, I will give this pill to someone else. As he spoke, he took out a pill from the system warehouse. Looking at the three-lined pill in Qin Haitian's hand, Lang Qingshuang pursed her lips and said, I'm not a child. I can't be dismissed with just one pill. This is not an ordinary elixir. Its name is Xuanling pill. When taken by a cultivator in the Tongshuan realm, it can unconditionally improve 1 to 4 levels of cultivation, and there are no side effects. Qin Haitian looked at Lang Qingshuang with a half-smile. Are you sure you don't want it? Ah, Xuanling pill. Wasn't the recipe lost? Lang Qingshuang blinked and looked at Qin Haitian in disbelief. You don't want it, right? In that case, I'll just give it away. Qin Haitian shrugged and put the pill away. HMPH, then go and give it to that person. Lang Qingshuang snorted coldly, turned his head away, looking angry. Take it, Qin Haitian said with a smile. Lang Qingshuang said coldly, please beg me, I will only take it if you beg me. Qin Haitian, looking at Lang Qingshuang's arrogant look, Qin Haitian didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but he would not indulge her and ordered, come here. Why are you so fierce? Lang Qingshuang looked at Qin Haitian aggrievedly, but still obeyed Qin Haitian's orders and came to Qin Haitian's side, favorability +3. Qin Haitian was speechless. This woman was obviously the type who would only respond to tough situations and not soft ones. Of course, if an ordinary person dared to do this, she might be hit on the head with a sword. Her surrender to Qin Haitian was completely a surrender to a strong man. Taking the Xuanling pill from Qin Haitian's hand, Lang Qingshuang looked at the pill, unable to hide the joy in his eyes. This is a magical pill that can improve one's cultivation from 1 to 4 levels. Take the pill now, Qin Haitian said with a smile. Then shall I go to the training room? Lang Qingshuang looked at Qin Haitian and said, right here, you eat the pills and I eat you. Qin Haitian grinned evilly. Ah, master, don't do that. This is not good. Lang Qingshuang panicked and was about to run away, but was pulled directly into Qin Haitian's arms. At this moment, a cold voice sounded, what are you doing? Hearing this voice, both Lang Qingshuang and Qin Haitian couldn't help but tremble. Lang Qingshuang took the opportunity to escape from Qin Haitian's arms, while Qin Haitian showed a natural smile and turned to look at Shui Hongluan with a frosty face. Chapter 23 I like them all. Master, Lang Qingshuang's face turned pale and he stammered, not knowing how to explain. Could it be that I was forced by the headmaster? But if you don't want to, why don't you call on master for help? This is hard to explain. As for Qin Haitian, could it be that Qin Haitian was really intoxicated, and didn't he know that Shui Hongluan might come out at any time after refining the Xingling pill? Of course not. He just wanted to improve Lang Qingshuang's favorability, but at the same time, Sun gave Shui Hongluan a shot of prevention in advance to lay a solid foundation for his future harem. Who can blame him for being a warm-hearted man who wants to cherish every beautiful girl and give them a happy and complete home? Qin Haitian stood up from the recliner with a smile on his face, walked towards Shui Hongluan, who looked frosty, and said with a smile, are you angry? Why do you want to be with my apprentice? Am I not good enough to you? Shui Hongluan gritted her teeth and shouted angrily, with resentment on her face. He had just been separated from her for a short while when he hugged Lang Qingshuang. What a great stimulation this was for her. It's normal that she can't accept it for a while. Seeing that Shui Hongluan's favorability had reached 91 points before, but dropped to 90 points because of anger, Qin Haitian actually breathed a sigh of relief. The drop in favorability showed that she was very angry, but it did not drop below 90, which naturally showed that she still loved him deeply. Faced with Shui Hongluan's questioning, Qin Haitian thought about making up an excuse, but he didn't. Instead, he directly hugged Shui Hongluan and kissed her. Shui Hongluan originally wanted to push Qin Haitian away. With her current strength, Qin Haitian would naturally end up being pushed away. However, Shui Hongluan thought about how good Qin Haitian had been to her and was not thinking about breaking up with Qin Haitian, so she hesitated for a moment, and Qin Haitian succeeded. Not far away, Lang Qingshuang looked at him blankly, feeling a little sour and aggrieved in her heart. After all, she was a superfluous person. The person who had been so affectionate with her just now had forgotten about her the moment he turned around. You haven't explained why you are so intimate with my apprentice. Do you want to get away with it? I won't let you succeed. Seeing Qin Haitian hugging her, she pushed Qin Haitian away and said angrily. She was very angry at first, but after Qin Haitian's kiss, her anger subsided a lot, but she was still angry in her heart. There's nothing to explain, I just like her. Qin Haitian shrugged. Shui Hongluan originally thought that Qin Haitian would make up some excuse, but she didn't expect that Qin Haitian would be so frank that she didn't know how to respond. Lang Qingshuang, who was feeling secretly lost not far away, brightened up her eyes when she heard the words, and looked at Qin Haitian with a touch of tenderness and emotion. It turned out that he was not joking. Likeability +9. Qin Haitian smiled and said, okay, don't be jealous. Although I also like Lang Qingshuang, my love for you remains unchanged. Scumbag. Shui Hongluan looked at Qin Haitian angrily. Before, I always thought you were a person who was loyal and devoted to love. It turns out that I was wrong about you. In the past, Qin Haitian didn't have the physical condition to be unfaithful. What bad intentions could a eunuch have? Qin Haitian muttered secretly in his heart, but with a smile on his face, he hugged Shui Hongluan's slender waist, kissed her, and said, even if you regret getting on the pirate ship, it's too late. Just accept your fate and be my lovely wife. Shui Hongluan, facing the rogue Qin Haitian, although Shui Hongluan was still a little angry, for some reason, she was not that angry anymore. Although the previous Qin Haitian was a gentleman, he was not as likable as the current Qin Haitian. Maybe women just don't love bad men. Chapter 24 Yongshan was so angry that he vomited blood in the punishment hall. Puff. Yongshan spat out a mouthful of blood, then he opened his eyes with a grim expression. For some reason, his heart felt empty, as if many important things had been taken away from him. In the past, he could easily break through if he wanted to, but he failed every time he tried to break through in the past few days, and it brought backlash, which made him even more injured. However, he didn't know that it was because most of his luck had been plundered that led to all these misfortunes. For example, now, whether it is his childhood sweetheart, his master, or his fellow senior sister, they have almost forgotten about him, a relative who is still imprisoned in the punishment hall. What exactly happened to me? Why has everything been going wrong lately? Yangshan said with a gloomy look on his face and a frown. Senior brother Tian. Yangshan then opened his mouth and shouted. Senior brother Tian, who was guarding outside the door, did not respond at all to Yangshan's call. Although he really wanted to get the lower part of the sword manual, what happened before made him understand that even if he took good care of Yangshan, he would not give it to him if Yangshan did not want to give him the lower half of the sword manual. In that case, can I stop serving you, sir? If it was before, Yangshan would have known what was going on and would never give in. However, he was recently in the punishment hall and was upset. He didn't want to control senior brother Tian anymore. He just wanted to know if something happened in the outside world. Otherwise, why would he be so upset? He believed that his many misfortunes must have been due to something big happening, and that his cultivation was not going well. This was a warning from heaven. In the past, warnings from heaven had come true many times. Senior brother Tian, I will give you the second half of the sword manual now. Please come over and talk to me, Yangshan said in a deep voice. Oh, hearing this, senior brother Tian spoke this time, unable to hide his excitement. Really? He has been thinking about the second half of the sword manual for a long time. Of course, Yangshan said seriously, but you have to swear not to hide it. In that case, then give it to me. As long as you give me the thing, I will tell you everything I know. I can naturally swear as you say. Senior brother Tian looked at Yangshan and said with a smile. You swear first. Yangshan didn't trust senior brother Tian. Senior brother Tian looked at Yangshan, took a deep breath, and thought that Yangshan would not give it to him unless he swore. So he swore an oath. Of course, the content of the oath was that he swore that Yangshan must give him the second half of the sword manual before he would answer Yangshan truthfully. Although the oath may not necessarily come true, when one becomes powerful in the future, one will have inner demons due to breaking the oath. Anyone who hopes to reach the top will generally not break their oath easily. After seeing senior brother Tian solemnly swear, Yangshan handed the second half of the sword manual to senior brother Tian without turning back. Senior brother Tian flipped through the sword manual and found it was true. He was extremely excited. He looked at Qin Haitian with a gentle look and said with a smile, Junior brother Yang, just ask whatever you want to know. Senior brother Tian, do you know why junior sister Lu hasn't come to see me these days? Yangshan asked the question that concerned him most at the moment. Senior brother Tian heard this and looked at Yangshan, seeming to be hesitant to speak. What can't you say? Yangshan's face darkened and he said, you have to remember that you made a vow before. It's not that we can't tell you about this, but I'm worried that you won't be able to withstand the blow if I tell you. Senior brother Tian looked at Yangshan, sighed, and said in a low voice. Well, just say it. Yangshan's heart sank and he gritted his teeth. I heard that junior sister Lu is now the headmaster's woman. Senior brother Tian said in a low voice. What? Yangshan was furious when he heard this. How dare an old man like this to bully others? At this moment, his murderous intent towards Qin Haitian was like a surging river, endless. Keep your voice down. I only heard the gossip and don't know if it's true. I tell you, don't implicate me. Otherwise, the master will be furious, and both you and I will die. Senior brother Tian's face changed and he said, I understand. Yangshan took a deep breath, but the anger in his eyes could not be suppressed no matter how hard he tried. Lu Ruoxian, that was his beloved. He had originally thought that after Lu Ruoxian broke through to the foundation building stage, he would confess his love to her, and then practice dual cultivation using the magical skill of dual cultivation that he had accidentally obtained. But now, during the days when she was imprisoned, she became the headmaster's woman. Where are my master and senior sister? Yangshan barely suppressed the raging anger in his heart and asked coldly. Explain. Well, the headmaster went to Hongluan Peak a few days ago and just returned to the main peak today. He looks very radiant and seems to have established a special relationship with the master of Hongluan Peak. Yongshan. Yongshan's eyes suddenly turned blood red. Although Shui Hongluan was his master, he should not have any improper thoughts about it, but he always had a bold idea in his heart, that is to be a wicked disciple, because Shui Hongluan once saved his life, and he also fell in love with her in his heart as early as when Shui Hongluan saved her. His talent was extremely amazing. At that time, many peak masters of the Baijian sect almost broke their heads for him, and the conditions they offered were extremely amazing, but he resolutely chose Hongluan Peak because of Shui Hongluan herself. But now, his childhood sweetheart might become the sect leader's woman, and the same could be said about his master. How could he accept these facts? He didn't want to believe it, but things had been going wrong recently and he was vomiting blood because of the backlash from his practice. This was all a warning from heaven. So, he believed it. Qin Haitian, you scum, I must kill you. Yongshan roared in his heart. Boom, at this moment his inner demon grew, his eyes turned blood red, which made senior brother Tien tremble with fear. Junior brother Yong, don't be impulsive. Senior brother Tien said repeatedly when he saw Yongshan's ferocious and terrifying face. He felt a little regretful now. Telling Yongshan all this might have been a big mistake. Because Yongshan's expression at this moment was so scary, as if a dragon had emerged from the abyss. Chapter 25 Ruoxian is moved. I want to go out. Yongshan panted and roared in a low voice, staring at senior brother Tien with red eyes. Junior brother Yong, you need to calm down. The headmaster wants to lock you up for 3 months, and it's not even a month yet. If you go out now, the headmaster will be furious and the punishment you will be severe. Senior brother Tien looked at Yongshan's scary eyes, swallowed his saliva, and comforted him repeatedly. He was afraid that Yongshan would go crazy and attack. Although his realm was higher than Yongshan's, he was not sure he could defeat Yongshan because Yongshan's combat power was very strong, and when a person went crazy, his combat power would also soar. The most important thing is that Yongshan has a backer. If the other person kills you, it may not be a big deal, but if you kill the other person, then it will be a problem. After all, Yongshan's master is Shui Hongluan, and Shui Hongluan is a peak master of Baijian sect and has a close relationship with the headmaster. It may be that kind of relationship that means both sides are in the same pot. If Shui Hongluan wants to protect Yongshan, then she may be the one who gets hurt in the end. So, he didn't want Yongshan to lose his mind. Yongshan was panting heavily, and after a long time, he calmed down. His current cultivation level was only at the foundation establishment stage. Even if he tried his best, what could he do to the sect master? There are still more than 2 months left, and he endured it. After he gets out, he will find ways to improve himself, and then brutally kill Qin Haitian. Qin Haitian was in a good mood, but when he heard someone talking about him and Lu Ruoxian behind his back, he couldn't help but pause. Now this rumor is circulating in the sect. First, it might be the rumor spread by his adopted son. Second, it was not done by him, but because Lu Ruoxian has not come down since she reached the main peak, some people with ulterior motives began to doubt and speculate, and then spread such groundless news. But Qin Haitian didn't think much about it, because Lu Ruoxian was his woman, and this was a fact that would be known sooner or later. Besides, he was the head of a religion, so what if he had a few women? Whose business did it bother? When I returned to the main peak, I saw Lu Ruoxian practicing sword skills with great concentration. Qin Haitian watched for a while before Lu Ruoxian realized that Qin Haitian was back. She immediately stopped practicing sword, trotted towards Qin Haitian with joy on her face, and threw herself into Qin Haitian's arms. Where did you go out for? You haven't come back for several days. Lu Ruoxian asked with a pout. Looking at the clingy Lu Ruoxian, Qin Haitian stroked her beautiful hair and said with a smile, I'll go find other sisters for you. Hate it, you're not satisfied with me yet, and you're still flirting with other girls. Lu Ruoxian said angrily. This is just a girl's temper, just coax her. Qin Haitian didn't answer her, but hugged her and kissed her. Are you still jealous? After a long time, Qin Haitian stopped and teased Lu Ruoxian. I'm not jealous. Lu Ruoxian snorted, but after Qin Haitian's affectionate attitude, although she still felt a little jealous in her heart, it was much better than before. In fact, for Qin Haitian, Lu Ruoxian's jealousy is actually a good thing, because jealousy shows that he cares. Let me see how you're reviewing your homework. Qin Haitian looked down at Lu Ruoxian and rubbed his chin on her hair, smiling. You bad guy, You want to force me to study as soon as you come back. Lu Ruoxian said with a red face. Who told me to want my daughter Shaner to become a great poet? Qin Haitian smiled and picked up Lu Ruoxian and walked into the house. Lu Ruoxian shyly buried her head in Qin Haitian's arms. After studying Tang and Song poems with Lu Ruoxian for the whole night, Lu Ruoxian was so thirsty from studying. Old Qin, let me tell you something. Lu Ruoxian said softly while lying in Qin Haitian's arms and drawing circles. What's the matter? Qin Haitian asked curiously while playing with the lamb's nose with one hand. Well, your adopted son's Dantian has recovered, right? So don't punish senior brother Yang too much, okay? Lu Ruoxian said cautiously. After saying this, afraid that Qin Haitian would misunderstand that she still had feelings for Yang Shan, she continued, don't get me wrong. Now I only have brotherly and sisterly feelings towards Yang Shan. After all, he has helped me a lot in the past, and he is also my neighbor. Since my Shaner has spoken, then we will lock her up for a full month and release her early. Qin Haitian smiled and said. He was not worried that Lu Ruoxian and Yang Shan would rekindle their old love, because their previous love had never been rekindled. What's more, Lu Ruoxian's favorability towards him was too high, having reached 96 points. It is only 4 points away from the 100 points of unswerving determination. However, Qin Haitian also knew that the higher the favorability, the more difficult it would be to improve. Oh, old Qin, you're so nice. Lu Ruoxian kissed Qin Haitian happily. The breakfast in the morning was delicious. Although Qin Haitian no longer needs to eat every day after reaching the foundation establishment stage, food with spiritual energy is still a great supplement for the body. Therefore, if he has time, he will ask the kitchen to cook some food and send it to him. Old Qin, the reason why I asked senior brother Yang to come out early is actually because the Chinese New Year is coming soon, and I have been in Baijian sect for a few years, and I want to go home. Lu Ruoxian looked at Qin Haitian and said while eating, if I go back and senior brother Yang doesn't go back, my family, or Yang Shan's parents, will ask about it. How do you think I should explain it? Is that so? Qin Haitian said with relief. Then when are you going to go back? Maybe after 10 or 8 days. Lu Ruoxian said, well, when the time comes, I'll go back with you. Qin Haitian thought for a while and said, ah, really? Lu Ruoxian's face lit up when she heard that. Of course. Qin Haitian shrugged and smiled. Chapter 26 All the beauties come together, bringing happiness to all. There are many reasons why Qin Haitian wants to accompany Lu Ruoxian back. First, he was worried that if he let Lu Ruoxian go back with Yang Shan, he would accidentally be cuckolded. Although Lu Ruoxian only had him in her heart now, he should not forget that Lu Ruoxian and Yang Shan had been in love for more than 10 years and had been childhood sweethearts. Moreover, if he was not with her, who knew what rude behavior Yang Shan would do? That guy is the son of luck. Although I took away 70,000 of his luck points, I still have 30,000 left. Second, I also want to go out and see the world. My current cultivation level has reached the 5th level of the Foundation Establishment realm, and with the 2 life-saving trump cards, if I can call on a few elders to protect me, then my safety will be guaranteed. I can't just use my life-saving trump cards when I meet an enemy I can't defeat. It's also dangerous, as I might be ambushed and killed before I can even use my life-saving trump cards. Old Qin, if you go back with me, with what identity? Lu Ruoxian blinked her bright eyes and tilted her head to look at Qin Haitian. Of course as your man. What, are you afraid that my identity will embarrass you? Qin Haitian narrowed his eyes, looked at Lu Ruoxian, and asked with a smile. No way, Lu Ruoxian said angrily, you are the headmaster of the Baijian sect, the leader of several giant sects in the surrounding countries. Who would look down on you? Who dares to look down on you? What Lu Ruoxian said was not to flatter Qin Haitian. Qingzhou has a vast territory and numerous countries. Even if there are not 100 countries in Qingzhou, there must be 80 or 90. These countries all rely heavily on powerful sects, especially the several 8th grade sects in Qingzhou. Because these mortal kingdoms are often invaded by demons, at this time they need the cultivators of these 8th grade sects to subdue the demons. The country where Lu Ruoxian's home is located is one of the countries that worships the 100 Sword sect. Choose a good day, and I'll go with you then. Qin Haitian said. Yeah, Lu Ruoxian nodded like a chick pecking at rice. Time passes silently day by day. When he was not teaching Lu Ruoxian how to compose poetry, Qin Haitian would still take time to go to Hongluan Peak to find Shui Hongluan and Leng Qingshuang. Shui Hongluan may have accepted her fate, or she may have gotten used to it, so she turned a blind eye to Qin Haitian studying with Leng Qingshuang from time to time. Of course, Qin Haitian was often scolded for being biased. Leng Qingshuang's favorability has also increased over time and has reached 86 points. These days, Qin Haitian has become a master of time management. In the blink of an eye, 10 days passed. On this day, in the punishment hall. Junior brother Yang, you can go out now. Senior brother Tian, who was guarding Qin Haitian, opened the door of the holding room and said to Yang Shan. This was the news he had just received. Yang Shan's eyes suddenly lit up when he heard this. He originally thought that it would take another 2 months before he could leave the solitary confinement room, but he didn't expect to be able to get out so soon. But when he thought that he was able to come out early, it might be the result of Lu Ruoxian feeding the tiger with her own body, he felt a heart-wrenching pain and an extremely urgent feeling, and wanted to find Lu Ruoxian to ask about the situation. He asked Senior Brother Tian, Senior Brother Tian, do you know where Junior Sister Lu is now? Still on the main peak. Senior Brother Tian gave a dry laugh and explained. Everyone in the sect knows about this. Junior Sister Lu has never come down since she reached the main peak. Hearing what Senior Brother Tian said, Yang Shan's face darkened, and the rage in his heart almost burst out, and then he rushed to the main peak to fight with Qin Haitian, but he took a few deep breaths and forced himself to hold back, hypnotizing himself in his heart. Maybe things are not as bad as I thought, maybe Qin Haitian just wants to take Shaner as his apprentice. However, he himself felt that this guess was unreliable, because the master never accepted disciples. When he was being fought over by others, he didn't show up, so why would he suddenly want to recruit Lu Ruoxian, whose qualifications are not as good as his? Eliminating some impossibilities, the biggest possibility is the one you are unwilling to believe. Yang Shan took a deep breath and then walked straight towards Hongluan Peak. He wanted to see his most beloved master first. Perhaps his master knew Shaner's situation more clearly. Moreover, he was worried that if he went to the main peak, he might get into conflict with Qin Haitian if he acted impulsively. Qin Haitian was one of the strongest Qinghai realm cultivators under Daotai realm. What if you slap yourself to death? Does he still have a bright future? But he didn't know that Qin Haitian had lost all his cultivation. But when he arrived at Hongluan Peak to pay a visit to his master, the disciple guarding outside the peak told Yang Shan that the peak master had gone to the main peak as a guest. Yang Shan, if he had known this earlier, he would have gone directly to the main peak. Wouldn't this be a waste of time? So he turned and went to the main peak, feeling extremely anxious. On the main peak, Qin Haitian invited Shui Hongluan and Leng Qingshuang to be his guests, and asked the canteen to prepare delicious meals. Although the three women knew each other, they were still somewhat uncomfortable sitting together as Qin Haitian's women. Yes, in the past few days, Qin Haitian had confessed and was given a lighter punishment. Leng Qingshuang won't be mentioned, after all, she and Qin Haitian haven't reached that stage yet. Shui Hongluan thought that Qin Haitian had even seduced his own disciple, so there was no reason for him to let go of such a beautiful woman like Lu Ruoxian. However, she was worried about her disciple. Lu Ruoxian was the childhood sweetheart of her disciple Yang Shan. She didn't know if he could accept her after he came out of the punishment hall. However, she was only worried for a short while and soon stopped thinking about it. After all, Qin Haitian was almost everything in her heart now. Lu Ruoxian found it hard to accept at first, but Qin Haitian had given him too many vaccinations, and it was too common for men in the mortal world to have 3 wives and 4 concubines, so she quickly accepted it. But even though they accepted it, they couldn't be calm when sitting together with Qin Haitian's women. Fortunately, Qin Haitian was thick-skinned enough and made jokes with the women. After teasing them for a while, the women finally relaxed. You are all my women. Although you are of different ages, as my women, you will all be sisters in the future. You should get along well with each other. Qin Haitian said with a smile as he looked at the 3 women, each of whom was good at their own specialty: plum, orchid, bamboo and chrysanthemum. Hongluan, you have to take care of these 2 little sisters. Humph. Shui Hongluan said angrily after hearing this. I am the master of a mountain, Qingshuang's master, and you have lowered my generation like this. Leng Qingshuang lowered her head, looking very embarrassed. Actually, among the 3 women, only she and Qin Haitian are still innocent. This innocence means that she has not really become a woman yet, and is just one step away from becoming a woman. But in fact, she and Qin Haitian are just like a married couple. If you like people of higher seniority, how about I follow Qingxuang and call you master from now on? Qin Haitian blinked and looked at Shui Hongluan with interest. Bah, you are shameless. Shui Hongluan said angrily as she looked at Qin Haitian's high spirits. Ha ha. Seeing Shui Hongluan getting angry and embarrassed, Qin Haitian couldn't help laughing. The three girls all blushed with shame. Although they knew that Qin Haitian was not serious, this was too indecent. As fairies from the 100 Swords sect, the three girls had all fallen into the mortal world at this moment. Chapter 27. It turns out that love will disappear, right? Master, junior brother Yongshan wants to see you. At this moment, at the entrance under the main peak, the disciple guarding the entrance activated the sound transmission formation, and his voice rang out above the main peak. Yongshan. Upon hearing this, the three women were all stunned, and then subconsciously looked at Qin Haitian. Well, I just notified the punishment hall and asked them to release Yongshan early. Qin Haitian said with a smile. Well, I should forgive others when I can. Although I don't know what happened to my adopted son's Dantian, it has recovered after all. The three girls who were supposed to become Yongshan's women in the future are now my women. Whether it is to make the three women feel better or as a winner, you should show your magnanimity, right? Then, Qin Haitian informed the disciple on guard to inform Yongshan to go up the mountain. Not long after, Qin Haitian met Yongshan, whose luck points he had taken away 80,000. He was indeed young and handsome, but his appearance was far inferior to his. Although Yongshan tried his best to conceal his true feelings towards him, Qin Haitian could tell from the sharp light that occasionally flashed in his eyes that this man hated him to the core, so he activated the detector. Then, relevant information about Yongshan also came into view. Open black lens bracket. Name: Yongshan close black lens bracket. Age: 19. Cultivation: Foundation Establishment Stage 7. Luck value: 20,000 points. Favorability: -100 points. I'll get rid of you as soon as possible. Recent opportunity. Location: Fengyu City Auction House. Qin Haitian muttered in his heart, is there any extraordinary treasure in the auction house of Fengyu City? If I snatch this opportunity from him, will this guy become an ordinary person? At this time, Qin Haitian thought of one thing, that is, his adopted son Qin Mofei. His opportunity place was at the main peak of Baijian sect, which was his own territory. Now, he also doesn't know what the other party's opportunity is, because the system only gives the location of the other party's opportunity, but there is no hint as to what the opportunity is. You can only rely on your own analysis and speculation. It may not even be until the other party gets something that you know what the opportunity is. Greetings, Sect Master, Master. Although Yongshan hated Qin Haitian to the core, he still showed courtesy. However, seeing that Lu Ruoxian looked less immature and more charming than she was a month ago, he felt inexplicably heartbroken. Although he has never experienced love between men and women, even if he has never eaten pork, how could he not have seen pigs run? Lu Ruoxian looked as if she had gone through the baptism of love and sex and her face had been opened. Qin Haitian nodded slightly, thinking to himself, this guy is quite patient. Although Yongshan was imprisoned in the secret room of the punishment hall for a month, he didn't know any news about the 100 Swords sect. He didn't quite believe it. Even if he didn't know while in there, he would know after he got out, right? Because the news about him and Lu Ruoxian was not widely circulated, but it was almost known to everyone, and he did not issue any order to ban such rumors. Don't be so reckless in the future. Shui Hongluan looked at Qin Haitian and said with concern. Yes, Master. Yongshan responded, but he didn't agree in his heart, because he didn't cripple Qin Mofei recklessly at all, but had his own calculations and did it on purpose. If anyone dared to set his sights on the woman he loved, he would be killed. He only killed Qin Mofei because he was worried that Qin Haitian would kill him in a rage. Let's sit down and eat. Shui Hongluan then said. Yes, Yongshan responded and was about to sit down, but when he looked at the table full of leftovers, his expression froze slightly. Master, feelings will fade with time, right? Ahem. Shui Hongluan had just finished speaking when she noticed the situation on the table. She felt a little embarrassed and gave Qin Haitian a cold look. Qin Haitian was eating the most enthusiastically just now, and there weren't many vegetable leaves left. He couldn't lick the plate, could he? Shui Hongluan calmed down and said, let's ask the canteen to prepare food for you when we return to Hongluan Peak. No need to bother, I'm not hungry either. Yongshan shook his head, looked at Lu Ruoxian and Leng Qingxuang, and said, Sister Shaner, Senior Sister Leng, long time no see. Finally, His gaze fell on Lu Ruoxian's expression, and his eyes were a little hot. This time, the person he most wanted to see was Lu Ruoxian, followed by his master Shui Hongluan, and finally Lang Qingshuang. Lu Ruoxian originally thought that she should be very happy to see Yang Shan coming out of the confinement room, but although she was happy, after seeing Yang Shan, she felt a little embarrassed for some reason. And when she saw Yang Shan's burning gaze, she felt even more uncomfortable all over. This was also the reason why she hadn't spoken for a long time. She forced a smile and responded with, "It's been a long time since I came." Her body subconsciously leaned towards Qin Haitian. Well, being close to Qin Haitian, her mood became a lot more comfortable. Yang Shan, naturally, he saw Lu Ruoxian's little action and his smile froze. "Does this mean you don't love yourself at all?" "Shaner, I want to talk to you alone, do you think it's possible?" Yang Shan took a deep breath and forced a smile. Hearing this, Shui Hongluan and Lang Qingshuang's expressions were somewhat complicated. How could they not understand Yang Shan's feelings for Lu Ruoxian? They were also at a loss as to what to say. I can only express sympathy for Yang Shan. Apart from that, it seems inappropriate to say anything else. Lu Ruoxian glanced at Qin Haitian after hearing this, worried that he might be angry, but the latter smiled and said, "He wants to talk to you alone, just go and listen." Seeing that Qin Haitian was not angry, Lu Ruoxian secretly breathed a sigh of relief, and then she said, "Brother Yang, if you have anything to say, just say it directly. There are no outsiders here." Qin Haitian nodded in approval. Yes, there were indeed no outsiders. There were only himself and his 3 women. Speaking of outsiders, Yang Shan was the only outsider. Qin Haitian praised Lu Ruoxian's words highly. "She is worthy of being my little wife. Her words are so sweet. When we get in bed, I will definitely teach you some new positions that you don't know yet, Yang Shan." "There are no outsiders here, but why does it sound like I am the outsider? What's more, you used to call me Big Brother Yang, but now you call me Senior Brother Yang. Is the relationship gone? I heard that you became the sect master's disciple." Yang Shan asked with a forced smile. He still didn't want to believe that Lu Ruoxian had become Qin Haitian's woman. "Become the sect master's disciple? Who told you that?" Lu Ruoxian said in surprise, "That's not true. Didn't I hear that you have been living in the main peak for the past month?" Yang Shan's heart sank. Then he said with a forced smile. Before, the scenario that most came to his mind was that Lu Ruoxian had become Qin Haitian's disciple. Otherwise, if a man and a woman stayed on the main peak for a month, anything could happen. "Oh, so that's it. Lao Qin and I are just Taoist companions. Living here makes it more convenient for us to practice." Lu Ruoxian pursed her lips. Boom. Although Yang Shan had speculated this before, he still felt like he was struck by lightning when he heard Lu Ruoxian say this. "Lao Qin. Is even the name so intimate?" "Why?" Yang Shan asked in a hoarse voice, his face looking a little ugly. "Did the sect master force you to do that?" He had originally thought about being patient, but now his heart was broken. He didn't care about life or death. He just wanted to make it clear that if Lu Ruoxian was forced, he would seek justice for Lu Ruoxian even if it meant death. "Yang Shan." Shui Hongluan's face changed and she shouted, "What nonsense are you talking about? Master, I just want to figure this all out." Yang Shan laughed bitterly. Shui Hongluan's breathing stagnated when she heard this, and then she looked at Qin Haitian and found that Qin Haitian had a faint smile on his face and did not seem angry about it. But even so, she still pulled Qin Haitian's clothes, worried that Qin Haitian would explode. On one side was her apprentice, and on the other was her fellow Taoist. The two were having a falling out, and she was caught in the middle. Qin Haitian hadn't spoken yet, but Lu Ruoxian spoke up at this time. She looked at Yang Shan with an unpleasant expression and said, "Brother Yang, the sect master and I are truly in love. Now the sect master is my Taoist partner, and I don't want you to ruin his reputation. Since you and I have known each other for 10 or 20 years, let's let it go this time. I hope you will do it for your own good." Although Qin Haitian did coerce her at the beginning, her heart is now filled with Qin Haitian's shadow. She is a woman who is completely in love. Naturally, she will not allow others to speak ill of her man, even though these words were originally true, she does not like to hear them. After hearing Lu Ruoxian's words, Qin Haitian felt as if a knife was stabbed into his heart and his heart was bleeding. "Shaner, can't childhood sweethearts of 10 or 20 years withstand a month's sweet talk? There is a saying that goes, a beautiful girl cannot defeat a gift from heaven. Besides, Lu Ruoxian gave everything to Qin Haitian, and now her favorability towards Qin Haitian is almost approaching the maximum value of unswerving commitment. How can a few words from Yang Shan change that? When Lu Ruoxian saw Yang Shan's painful expression, she felt a little uncomfortable, but she knew that she had to harden her heart because she was already Qin Haitian's person and could not have any connection with Yang Shan, otherwise it would be disloyal to Qin Haitian. So, it was better to cut the Gordian knot. In this way, although Yang Shan would be in pain for a while, he would naturally be able to heal over time. After listening to what Lu Ruoxian said, Qin Haitian was very satisfied. As long as his woman liked him enough, no one could steal his girl away. Chapter 28. Every strike of the sword is a critical hit, and the hatred of taking away 3 wives. Lang Qingshuang looked at his junior brother's painful expression, and felt sorry for him. She said to him, "Junior brother Yang, don't be too sad. Not to mention outsiders, even in our Baijian sect, there are many female disciples with good talents and character. With your outstanding talent and conditions, as long as you are willing, I think there are many female disciples who are willing to marry you." Yang Shan looked at Lang Qingshuang's and Lu Ruoxian's peerless beauties, each of whom had their own strengths, and felt that Lang Qingshuang was even more beautiful than Lu Ruoxian. After all, Lu Ruoxian was saying hurtful words to him, while senior sister Lang Qingshuang was comforting him. There is a saying that goes, the best way to heal a broken heart is to start another relationship, and he had long been in love with Lang Qingshuang, his beautiful and cold senior sister. However, because there was a huge gap between him and Lang Qingshuang in realm, he had originally thought of waiting until Lu Ruoxian broke through to the foundation building stage before expressing his love for her and practicing dual cultivation with her. And then he would wait until he broke through to the Tongshuan realm before pursuing Lang Qingshuang. His plan was going according to plan. But now that Lu Ruoxian has flown away, I'd better become a Taoist partner with Lang Qingshuang first. Senior sister Lang Qingshuang has always been very caring towards me and obviously has a great affection for me. In that case, I should confess my feelings to her. I believe she will not reject my love. After all, I am so outstanding. Some people may doubt that I am the most talented disciple of the Baijian sect in the contemporary era, but no one should object to me being ranked among the top 3 in the contemporary era. Master is here, senior sister Lang, I like you. Are you willing to be my Taoist partner? Don't worry, I will definitely care about you, love you, and protect you. I will treat you well. For the rest of my life. I hope you can give me this opportunity. Yang Shan looked at Lang Qingshuang affectionately and said, Lang Qingshuang. Everyone. Yang Shan looked at Lang Qingshuang's stunned expression, thinking that Lang Qingshuang was surprised by his sudden confession, and prepared to go forward and hug Lang Qingshuang. Bang. Lang Qingshuang raised her hand and slapped Yang Shan, who then flew backwards. Yang Shan was caught off guard and was caught off guard. Of course, even if he had been prepared, it would have been useless. After all, he was only at the 7th level of the Foundation Establishment realm, while Lang Qingshuang was now at the 5th level of the Tongshuan realm. This was naturally caused by the Xuanling pill given by Qin Haitian. Yang Shan was completely stunned at this moment. He got up from the ground and looked at Lang Qingshuang in disbelief. The pain on his face was not as severe as the heartache. He didn't understand why senior sister Lang slapped him in the face. Senior sister Lang, I know that my confession is a bit hasty, but my feelings for you are real. I'm sorry, I can't accept your love because I already have a Taoist partner, understand? Lang Qingshuang took a deep breath, suppressed the anger in her heart, and said coldly, don't mention this again in the future, otherwise I won't just slap you in the face. I originally thought that Yang Shan was an infatuated man, and worried that he would be upset, so I tried to comfort him. But I never thought that he would shift his focus to me so quickly. Did he think I was a casual woman? Ridiculous. Although she is casual sometimes, that is only in front of the person she likes. A bolt from the blue. You already have a Taoist partner. No. Senior sister, when did you have a Taoist partner? You didn't have one a month ago. Do I know one? Yang Shan was completely confused and his speech became incoherent. Lang Qingshuang didn't say anything, but just glanced at Qin Haitian. Her eyes were so charming that they could be drawn to silk. Words may lie, but the deep look of love will never lie. Yang Shan wanted to vomit blood, his hatred for Qin Haitian almost overflowed. Now, his murderous intent towards Qin Haitian was almost uncontrollable. If he was not inferior to the other person in strength, he would have drawn his sword on the spot and fought Qin Haitian to the death. Old man, do you want some more billion? It would be fine if you were pursuing my master. After all, you are of the same generation, but why do you want to compete with the younger generation? No, not even master can do that. Master is mine. Master, I want to go back to Hongluan Peak. Yongshan looked at Shui Hongluan in a hoarse voice, just like a child who had lost his toy and was looking at his parents for comfort. His childhood sweetheart is gone, and his beautiful senior sister is also gone. At this moment, he feels so sad that he wants to cry, but he cannot cry in front of so many people he likes, otherwise he will appear too cowardly and useless. He swore in his heart that he would definitely take back what he had lost. Yang Haitian, he will definitely tear him into pieces. He believes in his talent and opportunity. Looking at Yongshan, Shui Hongluan's heartstrings were plucked. Poor girl, her favorite junior and senior sisters have all fallen into the arms of others. It's really pitiful. Well, I'll go back with you. Shui Hongluan said gently. This child was indeed too pitiful, and she felt a little pity for him. Thank you, master. Yongshan looked at Shui Hongluan with gratitude. Fortunately, he still had a master. Master, you may not know yet, you are the goddess in my mind, but I am not worthy of you now. But I will become stronger in the future. At that time, I will protect you with my life and let you know how happy it is to be my woman. Of course, you may not be able to accept the status of master and disciple at that time, but as long as my strength is strong enough and I can dominate everyone, no criticism will dare to reach your ears. Senior brother, I'll go and comfort Zhao Shan. Shui Hongluan looked at Qin Haitian and said, Go. Qin Haitian nodded. Yongshan was indeed a pitiful child. Although Shui Hongluan was his woman, Yongshan was her apprentice after all. He couldn't interfere, otherwise he would appear to be too narrow-minded, and he still felt at ease with Shui Hongluan. Well, I'll go then. Shui Hongluan then leaned over and kissed Qin Haitian on the face. Let's do it here too. People with obsessive-compulsive disorder can't stand it. Qin Haitian pointed to the other cheek. You are so old but still have no shame, huh? Shui Hongluan glared at Qin Haitian. Although she felt a little embarrassed in front of the younger generation, she had given everything to Qin Haitian, so naturally she would not be shy about this. After all, she loved her senior brother so much. So even though she glared at Qin Haitian, she did not hesitate to speak. Yongshan. No, what did I see? My beloved master, who I had made up my mind to pursue in the future, how could she and Qin Haitian be so intimate? An incredible thought came to my mind. No, that's not possible. How could master and his disciple become Qin Haitian's Taoist partner? Master, you. Yongshan was a little at a loss. Shui Hongluan naturally knew what Yongshan meant, and nodded generously. Yes, your master and I are also Taoist couples. This, too, was like the last straw that broke the camel's back. Bang, bang, Yongshan's heart was shattered at this moment and exploded everywhere. I have only been detained for a month, why has everything changed? The childhood sweetheart is gone, the beautiful senior sister is gone, and the immortal master is gone. Puff. He spat out a mouthful of blood from his heart, his body swayed and he almost fell down, with a sad smile on his face. Koyama, brother Yang, junior brother, the three girls couldn't help but exclaimed. Qin Haitian, the three women are all kind people. It is normal for them to feel some concern when they see Qin Haitian vomiting blood. Although they all like him and they are now his women, they are not cold-blooded people and they had feelings for Qin Haitian before. I'm fine. Yongshan was smiling, but his smile was very miserable, as if his entire family had been murdered. Then he turned around and stumbled down the mountain, his figure looking disheveled, like a defeated dog. Zhao Shan, where are you going? Shui Hongluan asked worriedly. I want to venture out of the sect. Yongshan's voice sounded, his face was ferocious, his teeth were clenched, and blood was flowing from his mouth. If he comes back to the Baijian sect, this sad place, in the future, it must be when he has his feet on the world and can destroy Qin Haitian and even the Baijian sect with one hand. I would not be a human being if I don't avenge the crime of taking my three wives away from me. Well, that's right. In his heart, he originally regarded the three women as his own concubines, but all three were snatched away by Qin Haitian. He is powerless now and can only hide his hatred and murderous intent deep in his heart and take revenge someday. Chapter 29. You should feel lucky. Watching Yongshan staggering away, Shui Hongluan wanted to say something, but for a moment she didn't know what words of comfort to say. Moreover, she felt that Yang Shan's feelings towards her seemed to be wrong, otherwise, he would not have reacted so strongly after knowing that she and Qin Haitian were Taoist couples. Could it be that he feels that we, the master and disciple, have become a Taoist couple and cannot accept it? Shui Hongluan was helpless about this. She could not accept the visitor at first, but Qin Haitian asked Leng Qingshuang to play as an assistant many times, and after so many times, she got used to it. I must have disappointed my disciple. Shui Hongluan sighed in her heart. She felt that Qin Haitian still respected her very much. It's all your fault. Thinking of this, Shui Hongluan glared at Qin Haitian unhappily. Qin Haitian. Naturally, he also knew the reason why Shui Hongluan was angry. Shui Hongluan still valued Yang Shan as her disciple. But do you know who you are talking to? You care so much about your apprentice in front of me. Have you considered my feelings? So, Qin Haitian directly carried Shui Hongluan up and strode towards the bedroom. On the mountain road outside the Baijian sect, Yang Shan turned around and looked at Baijian sect with a gloomy and uncertain look. The 100 Swords sect once left me with many beautiful memories. In the sect, he grew up with Lu Ruoxian, and took Shui Hongluan, whom he respected and loved, as his master. He also had a beautiful senior sister. This world was cold to other disciples, but was very good to him, his junior brother. But now, all the beauty has become a thing of the past, leaving him with only scars and overwhelming hatred. Now he can only lick his wounds alone. Qin Haitian, the next time we meet, it will be your death. Yang Shan's eyes flashed with endless murderous intent and anger. Whoosh! The next moment, he turned and flew away into the distance. Now, he just wants to stay away from the 100 Swords sect, the farther the better. This is a sad place. I don't want to stay here for even a moment. Become stronger and stronger, and come back for revenge when you are strong enough. I don't know how long it took, but suddenly, Yang Shan stopped because a familiar young man was standing in front of him. Qin Mofei, Yang Shan said with a sneer in his eyes, I can't deal with your father, but you, the defeated general I crippled, have recovered your dantian, but so what? You dare to appear in front of me, you are courting death. I will kill you now and let Qin Haitian bear the pain of losing his son. Many people knew that Qin Mofei's dantian had been repaired, which was also the reason why the sect leader detained Yang Shan for a month and then released him. Qin Mofei looked at Yang Shan, who had a ferocious expression on his face, with a playful look on his face. Do you think you are qualified to challenge me now? While talking, Qin Mofei's figure disappeared in a flash, and when he appeared again he was beside Yang Shan, slashing at him with a knife. What? Seeing this scene, Yang Shan's expression suddenly changed. This knife-like blow could kill casually, but it contained a mysterious and terrifying power. Bang! The next moment, Yang Shan vomited blood and flew backwards. How did you break through to the Tongshuan realm? Yang Shan looked at Qin Mofei with horror in his eyes. Yang Shan's combat power is very strong. Although he is only at the 7th level of the Foundation Establishment realm, his combat power is comparable to some cultivators at the 8th level of the Foundation Establishment realm. However, this strength is not enough to face those in the Tongshuan realm. Yes, Qin Mofei's cultivation had reached a breakthrough again. Back then, in the altar space of Longtan Gorge, while recovering his dantian, his cultivation had reached the 10th level of the Foundation Establishment realm. After completing the Foundation Establishment stage, it is not so easy to break through to the Profound Understanding stage, the reason why Qin Mofei was able to break through in such a short time. This was naturally the credit of the Demon Moon Sect Master. In order to help Qin Mo grow up quickly, he also provided Qin Haitian with the Xuanzhou pill, which was an elixir that could help a person in the Foundation Establishment realm to reach the Profound Passage realm. It was extremely valuable. Qin Mofei did not answer Yang Shan's words, but attacked Yang Shan again. The mysterious power bursting out from his fists and feet made Yang Shan feel suffocated and desperate. My life is over. I was wondering why that bastard was so kind to let me go, turns out he wanted to kill me. Otherwise, how could Qin Mofei appear in front of him? Bang bang bang. Qin Mofei showed no mercy when he attacked. Soon, Yang Shan was beaten to the point of vomiting blood and fell in a pool of blood. Are you convinced? Qin Mofei walked towards Yang Shan with a sneer on his face. Bah, kill me or shave me, it's up to you. Yang Shan spat at Qin Mofei and said, I only regret that I only crippled you instead of killing you. You should feel lucky. Qin Mofei suddenly looked at Yang Shan and said lightly. Huh, Yang Shan was stunned when he heard what Qin Mofei suddenly said. Be thankful that I just wanted to get my revenge and didn't intend to kill you, otherwise, you would be dead already. Qin Mofei snorted coldly. Well, you won't kill me. Yangshan's eyes suddenly lit up. I said harsh words before because I thought Qin Mofei would not let me go, but now it seems that things are not as I thought. Yangshan is young, talented, and has unlimited potential for the future. How could he not be afraid of death? When you just destroyed my Dantian, I naturally wanted to tear you into pieces, but now, you are also a poor man. Qin Mofei looked at Yangshan and sighed. We are all pitiful people from other places, so why should we know each other when we meet? I feel like I have a common suffering with Yangshan. Hearing Qin Mofei's words, Yangshan's face suddenly darkened. You are the pitiful one, I live a carefree and happy life. Hee, your childhood sweetheart has become someone else's woman. That must be a hard feeling, right? Qin Mofei sneered. You know that too. Yangshan's face was gloomy. When he thought of Lu Ruoxian's protection of Qin Haitian and her abandonment of him, he felt a heart-wrenching pain. Qin Mofei's words were like rubbing salt into his wounds. How could I not know? It was me who spread the news that they became Taoist couples. Qin Mofei shrugged. This was the reason why he didn't have such great hatred towards Yangshan. Of course, his cultivation had also recovered, so the hatred for having it destroyed wasn't that great anymore. The most important reason was that Yangshan was too pitiful, so he couldn't bear to kill him. I just taught him a lesson, and my previous anger has also dissipated. Yangshan. Chapter 30. I'm not a tool. It seems that you are very dissatisfied with your father's behavior. Yangshan considered his words and looked at Qin Mofei. Otherwise, he would not spread his father's emotional affairs privately. Dissatisfied? No, I just want to kill him. Just like you. Qin Mofei had a ferocious smile on his face. What, are you telling the truth? Yangshan's whole body trembled, and he looked at Qin Mofei in disbelief. The gritting of teeth was not fake at all, and there was no need for the other party to lie to him, because if he wanted to kill him, he would have killed him just now. Do you think I have any reason to lie to you? What's the benefit? Now I can't wait to get rid of him. Qin Mofei sneered. Can you tell me the reason? Yangshan looked at Qin Mofei curiously. If the reason was reliable, they could form an alliance against Qin Haitian. Because he is not my biological father, but the enemy who killed my biological parents. Qin Mofei said with a grim look. The reason why he told Yangshan was mainly because he thought that Yangshan and he were now on the same front. Also, he felt that he and Yangshan had a common language. The same woman they liked became Qin Haitian's woman. They both felt more aggrieved and resentful than the other. Yangshan was shocked. So that's it, can't we spread the word and make him deserted by his friends and relatives? Yangshan seemed to have thought of something. I don't have any evidence, and it's easy to alert the enemy. I want to find an opportunity to kill him. Even if there is no opportunity, I have to create one. Qin Mofei said. Originally, he wanted to take advantage of Qin Haitian's guidance to assassinate Qin Haitian, but Qin Haitian directly drove him out of the main peak last time and felt that he was very annoyed with him. Under such circumstances, many of his previous ideas could not be implemented. Because if Qin Haitian has recovered a lot and then sees that I have murderous intentions, what if he wants to kill me? Is that so? Yangshan nodded, and then said, but, we still can't do anything to him. After all, he is almost invincible below the Daotai realm. He doesn't have that much strength now. Qin Mofei sneered. What do you mean? Yangshan's eyes flashed. You don't need to know. You just need to know that his current strength is not that strong. Qin Mofei shook his head and naturally would not tell Yangshan the specific situation. Yangshan nodded, but didn't ask for details, because he could tell that Qin Mofei didn't want to tell him, so you showed up in front of me just to tell me this. Even if he's not in his peak form, I don't think you and I can handle him. The reason why I came to see you is that I want to join forces with you to lure Qin Haitian out of the Baijian sect. Then someone will kill him. Qin Mofei said. Well, Yangshan's eyes flashed. Do you have any good ideas? Can you contact Lu Ruoxian? Qin Mofei asked instead of answering. Okay. Yangshan nodded. He possessed Lu Ruoxian's secret communication pattern, which he could not use in the confinement room of the criminal law hall. That was because there was a mysterious formation in the confinement room that could isolate the communication. Thinking of this, he gritted his teeth. After being confined for a month, he felt that the world had changed. That's good. Qin Mofei grinned, but his smile was sinister and cunning. Let's do this. After listening, Yang Shan looked at Qin Mofei with burning eyes, as the person you called reliable. Why is it unreliable? Just put your mind at ease. I won't joke with my life. Qin Mofei said lightly. Yang Shan nodded. Yes, after all, there is a deep hatred between Qin Mofei and Qin Haitian. Main peak, bedroom. Qin Haitian looked at Shui Hongluan putting on her clothes. He looked up at the beauties and asked leisurely, what are you going to do? HMPH. It's none of your business. Shui Hongluan glared at Qin Haitian angrily. In her mind, Qin Haitian used to be so serious, but what about now? I'm going back to Shauner's home with her in a few days. Do you want to go? Qin Haitian asked leisurely, looking at Shui Hongluan who was wearing a red dress. Lu Ruoxian originally wanted to go back alone with Qin Haitian. Compared with playing mahjong with a few people, she still preferred the intimacy of two people. But since Qin Haitian had invited Sister Shui, she naturally couldn't refuse. Instead, she actively lobbied. Yes, Sister Shui, my hometown is so fun. Let's talk about it when the time comes. After saying this, Shui Hongluan pushed open the door and walked out. Can I go? At this moment, Lang Qingshuang, who played as a supporting player every day and had never been a main player, spoke softly. What have you forgotten? I'm not a tool. When the time comes, I will definitely let you, Shuanger, follow me. Qin Haitian patted Lang Qingshuang and said with a smile. Yeah. Hearing Qin Haitian say this, Lang Qingshuang immediately smiled. Her cold face looked like a snow lotus blooming on an iceberg, revealing a different kind of contrasting beauty. Qin Haitian then turned to look at Lu Ruoxian and asked, Shenner, have you decided when to go back? Just these 2 or 3 days. Lu Ruoxian said. Okay, tell me before you leave. Qin Haitian nodded.